do just want to see just on the YouTube, just to be sure that everything's all good. Again, we do not like the what you call it. We don't like the delays that we get on the YouTube. I usually get thrown off by it.
Yeah.
Come on, YouTube. Okay. Let me turn my shoot down. All right. Well, day two, everybody. Welcome back to Three-Peat Sports, the fifth annual live Three-Peat Sports NBA draft show. I am your host, Ian Monhay. We are back with the homie. Andrew's back for day two. His first time coming onto the show these first 2 days. Stuart and Carson, they will not be appearing on the show this go around for day two. So it'll just be me and Andrew just kind of going through the motions of talking about these day two prospects. Andrew, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. Successful round one yesterday. Hopefully just as successful round two.
For some teams, I think we're both going to be rooting for the downfall of a couple of other teams through our own personal fandom. But I think the easiest place to start, we could just recap round one. Um, now that we've had about 24 hours to just really let the first round marinate and allow for our thoughts to kind of be collected. Was there any favorite picks that you had? Maybe a couple that you didn't have throughout the whole day one process? Were you confused by any teams? Just I'll let you take the floor from here, and we'll just go back and forth.
Uh, where to start? I think the sort of the end of the lottery was a couple guys I liked. Burries definitely to Milwaukee. I like the fit there. Mara, uh, just because of his size and the team he went to.
Mhm.
He'll definitely be getting big minutes. And then I got to go with the Suns, right? Trading back in, grabbing the hometown kid.
Very fun story with Koa Pete coming in. Um, I I'll just put on the screen the results of round one in particular, if there's even a good picture to show for it. We'll just go to ESPN. I think that's an easy place to go, just to be sure that um, my screen is actually showing it. Just let me know if you see that.
Yeah, we got you.
Cool, cool. So the first four picks very much chalk. We kind of felt that was the case really since the lottery was set in stone. Um, I wanted to ask your thoughts on the Mikael Brown pick over with Brooklyn. I've kind of went back and forth as these last 24 hours have gone on. Just give me your thoughts on just Mikael Brown, the prospect, and whether or not this was the correct pick. Do you still believe in that?
Uh, well, I definitely like the prospect. To him as a prospect, just sort of his ability and upside. As far as Brooklyn goes, I mean, they took all those guards last year,
Hmm.
and now you have Porter and Julius Randle taking shots. Uh, Probably a majority of the shots for that team, I would imagine. So I don't know. Just I don't know where he fits. Is my take on it.
I think of him more as like a point guard, and I thought of that for Demon before he ended up doing what he ended up doing in the NBA, and that was just being a high volume 3-point shooter, and that had completely caught me off guard. I mean, I guess we'll just zoom in on Brown, and that's how we'll get it going. But Mikhail Brown being a little bit more of that Demon mold of just bigger guards and being able to get to the rim. You know, when Demon was in college, he got to the rim quite a bit and operated inside the arc more than outside. But now you have two bombers in the backcourt, and that's ideally a good fit. Ultimately, I kind of just look at how my board went down as far as him being my number 10 guy. And I just continue to think that's not the greatest of value, given that you did have Acuff, who ends up being the easy selection for Sacramento at pick 7. Now, who knows? We've seen agents do a bunch of maneuvering for their guys and have them be passed up by certain teams to favor a certain landing spot. But I don't know. Like I feel that Brooklyn spot with Acuff would have been just as easy of a fit, if not. I mean, I won't say easier because Acuff's defense is kind of it's very iffy, but it is to say that um, that from a value perspective, that you had Acuff, even Kingston Flemings would have been a better pick in my eyes. Just something that I continued to think about as the night had moved along, and as I processed through everything in the morning. Just maybe not the greatest of value, but I think the Hawks draft for me, I liked it yesterday quite a bit, and it's aging for me really well. And uh, I'm just curious, just with the size perspective as far as Flemings go, does that worry you at any point with him being 6'2" and a little bit more on the slender side? Just your thoughts on Flemings, the prospect, and the fit here in Atlanta?
Uh, the as far as height, no. His slender frame definitely concerning. And obviously, you don't know how these guys are going to fill out as they get older and mature
Mhm.
more. Uh, as far as the just basketball fit, I actually really like it in Atlanta. It feels like a lot of the guard depth was older last
Mhm.
year, and he definitely brings something new to that team. And playing under a guy like C.J. McConnell or C.J.
CJ
McCollum.
McConnell.
Did I say
McCollum?
McConnell?
You're
T.J. McConnell. C.J. T.J. No, but
you're
I
close.
like I like the pick there. I actually really like what Atlanta did yesterday. So
Yeah, like we raved on here, Zuby Ejiofor. I'm surprised that I was able to get that first go around, the pronunciation of that. But I I saw some folks question the Ejiofor fit, just him being a little bit of a tweener and being one who you don't know who to play, where to play him at, whether that's a small four, and if you do play him at a small four, who do you pair him next to in the front court, which is kind of like I saw that take and I just thought, Okongwu has just steadily improved as a floor spacer year after year. It's almost been on a linear trajectory of really ever since he entered the league. And I think Ejiofor can go ahead and play well as a four, given what he has in the front court. And now, this was a surprise 6 seed to me. I don't know what you thought about how their season, how it unraveled all last season, but I was very surprised about them being a 6 seed, and now we kind of have to just weigh the prospect of them potentially being better and being a little bit more of a playoff luck. Where would you place Atlanta in this Eastern Conference with now the additions of these two rookies and bringing back McCollum and just running it back just with more younger, better talent?
well, they're definitely one of these teams where with the guys they have, I mean, they got a couple old guys, but they're still going to be really young.
Mhm.
And seeing the jump that a guy like Jalen Johnson has taken, not only last year, but kind of started the year before that, I think really this team could be, they're one of these teams in the regular season that goes all out. I could see a 3 seed. Wouldn't shock me.
I
And I don't know, I wouldn't pick them to win the East or anything. I definitely think,
Mhm.
as far as top end talent, they wouldn't have that. But
But we do got Stuart right over here. Stu, welcome back. Just in the chat. Man, we miss you right over here, man. It was a great show yesterday, and uh, who knows? Maybe you end up getting your super fans back in this chat, really gassing you up in the chat again this go around. Just not on the screen. But now we go ahead. I wanted to talk about the Merez Johnson pick. I think that was sort of the consensus in I wouldn't say worst pick of the draft, but I would go ahead and say that not a lot of people were fans of that selection. Maybe we go ahead and try to think this through, just reevaluate this pick um, in live time and live action. Just your thoughts on Merez Johnson, the prospect, him fitting in over here. I understand like the Dusty May connection, but is there any concerns that you have with him fitting in over here in Dallas?
yeah, he's definitely you want to call it just a reach, just based on where majority of people had him.
Mhm.
Especially he went over the other two Michigan guys, which I found surprising. It seemed like all evaluations had been that he was kind of third in that pecking order. But as
Mhm.
far as, I mean, if a team was going to reach on him, I'm glad it was the Mavericks and his college coach. And as far as a guy with like Cooper Flag now, where everything's going to be running through him, and I think everybody on that team is going to have their signified role,
Mhm.
so he won't be asked to do too much or anything that he can't do.
Sure. Sure. I think I saw a good amount of the controversy, mainly being from the fact that he can't really create his own shots, and I just say fair, fair. I don't see too much of his shot creation, really anywhere. He's gonna have to be spoon fed. I would also argue that just assuming that they keep Kyrie, which I think we're both in agreement that he'll stay.
At least through the start of the season, yeah.
Just him, Merez being a little bit more of just that connector piece, being somebody that is able to pass it a good amount, a decent amount, and be this versatile 1 through 5 defender. That's extremely valuable, especially since he's a little bit more cost controlled. When you think about it in the form of like a PJ Washington, who might end up being on the trade block now, just given the direction of where that team is going. And just, I think that's a little bit there's redundant skill sets within there, and it's not that you can't have players of that skill sets, multiple players of that skill sets, but it is to say that they are transitioning to just completely shifting the franchise over to Flag here and maybe getting a little bit younger. Like if they were gonna go that route of just youth and whatnot, I don't have much of an issue with that, considering I was definitely lower on the likes of what's his face's name, like a Nate Ament, definitely was lower on him. Braden Burries, I would have liked in that backcourt with Kyrie as well. Um, I don't complain about this Merez Johnson selection really at all. Everything is just a matter of how this whole thing develops, how the roster building ends up looking like if they end up shifting more towards a youth movement. Would you transition towards that? Would you trade away Kyrie for some more assets? What do you do in the shoes of Masai Ujiri?
Yeah, I definitely would kind of just like to move on, quote unquote, from the Luca era.
Mm-hmm.
Just kind of reset the team around Trooper Flag, because obviously the team was built around Luca, and they still have the pieces there from some of that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you want to keep a guy like Derek Lively around at his age, but I
Mm-hmm.
would definitely just reset the rest of it. Find out if you can move off Clay, Kyrie, see what we can get for PJ Washington and Daniel Gafford.
Mm-hmm.
On Johnson, it is interesting because it is his college coach from Michigan, and they did take him over Lundenberg and Mara. So
And those were two guys that was almost consensus. In the consensus big boards, you would see just rated higher than Johnson, and that was the case with me as well. I had a Mara above Lendeborg and then Lendeborg above Johnson. Um, I find it to be fascinating, just this whole that they were able to poach a college coach just in that way and just so quickly. But
yeah,
we
it
can
felt weird.
transition. You want to wrap it up here?
Yeah, no, it was like for him leaving for Dallas. It's like they pulled in such a big recruiting class, and it seemed like they had the ability to not run it back and win it, but like if he wanted to, he could have been a 20-year guy there at Michigan.
Yeah, and there was a good amount of commits from those guys that were going to come back, like the likes of an Elliot Cadeau coming back, their star point guard from last year, among other names that came back, of course. Um, just a very fascinating situation with Michigan, and now you have the ties continuing to end up going to Dallas. I wanted to transition over to Mainly the Bulls and the Thunder. I think those are two are going to be big winners for me when this is all said and done. I think both of us being as high as we were on the likes of a Caleb Wilson certainly factors into that, given like it was definitely the expected pick, but both of us being higher on Wilson was is a big catalyst to us really liking this draft class even more. And you add on top of that a Dalen Swain, who ended up being my number 13 guy, probably my biggest my guy, if we're not including, LeBaron Philon from Alabama. I guess you would go ahead. Let's start it off from Chicago's point of view. You kind of look at a lanky front court now where you do have Claxton as your five. He might not be your long-term guy at the center position, but a really serviceable center in the NBA who's shown legitimate all defensive team upside. Then you have Buzelis, who has taken a little bit of a year by year jump, very much on a good linear path right now. Then you bring in Wilson at 6'7", 6'8", probably taller. And then you bring in the 6'7" Dalen Swain, and now you just wonder what's this is the goal for them, a supersized starting lineup, because at the end of the day you still have Josh Giddey as your point guard at 6'6". Just how like what should be the main point of emphasis here for new head coach Tiago Splitter and just trying to build this roster around Wilson?
Yeah, well, I think some of the stuff when Splitter was hired was his reason was his development ability from when he was in Portland. So I don't think they're expecting anything super lofty in this first year, but definitely just look at getting these guys developed and better. The way their team set up, I definitely think it's primed for Caleb Wilson to be able to show off some of the stuff, his athleticism. Claxton's no slouch athletically.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully Giddey gets those guys running, throwing some lobs.
And you just consider just the notion of some of these other teams just being a little bit smaller per se, and this is just the definition of a supersized starting lineup with, assuming that you have every one of those guys starting, which I don't expect at this moment, but I'm just thinking about it hypothetically. If you're going to go ahead and put Swain in that lineup as well, everybody's going to be above 6'6". That's quite a bit to handle offensively speaking, assuming that you have shorter defenders, and then defensively, everybody is very much a plus given the length and the athleticism that's there. I kind of like this emphasis, especially when you look at Splitter, right? He was the head coach, the interim coach for Portland after Chauncey Billups ended up getting arrested. But he goes ahead, like I saw the development mainly in the likes of a Scoot Henderson, former number 3 overall pick some years ago in the Wembanyama draft, almost the consensus number 2 player in that class. And he almost, he didn't play those first couple of months with a calf strain this year. And I thought, man, is this really the end for Scoot Henderson? Are we looking at a potential buy low candidate? Given that he also really didn't make much progression offensively either. Then he comes back and he becomes much better as a defensive piece at 6'3", 6'4", being a little bit stronger on that end and being productive there. He was a humongous catalyst in, granted it was one victory over the Spurs in round 1, but it just went to show to me that, that's their point guard. And I don't think that was happening all that well under Billups. Point being that bringing over Splitter is a really good hire, and it gives really the two of us confidence that Wilson and Swain can develop into the pieces that we kind of laud him of being, assuming that you're in the same boat with me as far as Swain goes.
Yeah, no, I really like Swain, and can't believe Portland fumbled Tiago Splitter. It was literally their coach.
Yeah. Granted. Oh, that's a whole nother conversation, because I like Micah Nori. But the contract, did you see the contract of Micah Nori? Just to go on a quick tangent.
No, I didn't see the contract.
It's a 3-year deal, but it's only guaranteed for the first year. The next 2 years are team options. So he's essentially getting a 1-year prove-it contract which is unlike anything that I've ever seen from any league as far as coaching contracts go. It's a rough
Be the
start, man, for this new ownership. They've really tried to oversell them not being cheap, and they continue to go down this route of just inadequacy. It's
he's
very unfortunate for his Blazers team. That's young and youthful and talented, and they just continue to fumble the bag.
first coach to ever get a 10-year contract.
7 months worth of a contract. But man, I don't think we'll ever see a contract set up like that, especially since he was, just to wrap it up with Mike Nori. Like, we've seen him, he was an assistant coach for years, and all of a sudden, he gets this opportunity to be a head coach, and he essentially gets an 8-month trial. That feels unfair considering how much he's going to have to uproot his family and end up going, what is it, maybe 700 miles west, 800 miles west?
Yeah. Yeah, it's I don't know. I think he's a good coach, but just for your first opportunity as a head coach,
Yeah.
I guess he had the what's his face Finch tore his ACL. It's kind of the
His
head coach.
meniscus. Yeah, I remember that. The playoffs 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Yeah, I was at that game.
I remember the story time with that. But now we kind of transition everything over into day 2. And I think we'll eventually wrap everything up as far as, going through all these teams at the very end of this draft cycle. But now we kind of go into round 2. The Knicks are going to be up at this pick, but I think they're going to try to trade out of it. It seems like there's going to be a bunch of second-round movement as far as buying second-round picks and whatnot goes. I guess what are some prospects that you're really keeping an eye out on at just the very top of this second round?
Oh, it's got to be Evans out of Duke, right?
That's one of the guys. He's one of the last 3 that I have official write-ups on.
There's a big guy out of Virginia. I cannot pronounce his name. See if I can copy it in the chat here.
Virginia.
It's Ugana Aneso.
I know who you're talking about. Let me find him. He is from Virginia. I would say Ugana Onyenso.
Yeah, just good size. I think he's really good defensively.
Mm-hmm.
So, and throw him some lobs. See what we got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as far as I guess I'll kind of go through these 3 that I have left as far as my big board goes. Go to share my screen again. So again, we have only made it through 30 guys officially. So we got it through there, but we have 15 more other prospects that we have just a bunch of quick hitting notes on. It's just not as detailed as how these others have gone. Isaiah Evans is my best available prospect. He came in at my number 26 player. Just a really good shooter, and maybe more so on the skinnier side. I'm going to try to keep it very vague with these 3 because I do want to go into a good amount of detail when they end up getting selected. But generally speaking, really good shooter on the ball and off the ball. Really good Maury ball type of player. Just gets to the rim pretty solidly. Very good at just relocating and making himself available for jumpers as well. You take a look at the likes of Malik Thomas, who was another guy who was the backcourt running mate with Darius Acuff, who was also a bomber from beyond the arc. Has a number of weaknesses in his game as well that comes with decision making and just mid-range scoring. For as much as he was shooting, he kind of preferred for him to not do so. But just another one of those good shooting prospects. And then Baba Miller, more so being a very physically gifted player, versatile on the defensive side of the floor, a good playmaking ability, just keeping it very general there. But those are my three best available as far as the guys that I full on scouted. But now you kind of go towards this route of some of the other guys, right? You look at like a Richie Saunders, a Trayvon Brazil, um,
Bladen
a
Smith.
Henry Visar from North Carolina, originally from U of A. Just a couple of other guys that deserve to be mentioned because I think we're going to expect them off the board pretty quickly here.
How far do you think Smith from Purdue falls?
Braden Smith, he's the 6'1" guard, right?
Yeah, the all-time assist leader in college basketball history.
Which is a crazy thing, mind you. What did I have? Because he was one of the guys that I did a couple of quick hitters. I just talked about a lot about his playmaking and whatnot. Where does he end up going? Probably middle of the second round. If I had to take, that was kind of like where I was thinking. Just the height is definitely its own thing, but I'm curious. Like we did see like a Ryan Nemhard go. Was he undrafted? Last year out of.
I was thinking about his
going?
brother. He said his name. I was thinking about his brother. Let's see.
Yeah, Ryan was undrafted last year, so and that was mainly due to height. And that's a guy who ended up getting a two-way contract with Dallas. He was the summer league starting point guard, and I remember him pretty solidly from my time at summer league last year. And now he's on a standard NBA contract. You know, maybe that's kind of the route that would kind of be like a worst case scenario thing if Braden Smith isn't ending up in that top first 10 of the second round. But just really good playmaker and really solid from a shooting perspective, which is kind of what Nemhard was as a prospect last year as well. So you take that into account when the size in particular when looking at this guard prospect. He would kind of be like my ideal just for the Summer Suns, the Summer League Suns team. I think that it would be a perfect fit just to be a good distributor on so many different fronts.
Running it like a drill sergeant, running the summer league team. Yeah, right. I'm gonna do the white guy comparison. TJ McConnell. Best case scenario.
Best case scenario
for Smith, like.
I don't mind that. Like he was definitely an irritant, defensively speaking. Not that he's going to be all that crazy gifted as far as defense goes, at the next level. At least I wouldn't think so. But he was just somebody that he had a good motor. He was very much running around the court throughout the full 40-minute time frame, and he was just a really good playmaker defensively in that regard. Like the dude had a 3% steal rate, and that ranked in the 72nd percentile, and that's it goes to show like there's activity there that he was playing the passing lanes, that he was going in and digging when there was drivers and he was playing off the ball. I don't mind that comparison at all for Braden Smith if at a hot best case scenario.
No, yeah, you watch his games too. It seems like he plays with that same intensity, like minute after minute, that McConnell does.
Mm-hmm. I'll go ahead and I'll just answer the UE really quickly. We don't show the NBA draft. Like we won't just, full on just have it on our screen. We're going through all of this based off of our own analysis, and we'll kind of just announce the picks as they go. Hopefully that was the question that you meant. But is there a couple of sleepers that you have in mind in regards to this second round that has you pretty excited about where they end up going?
Bradley out of U of A. I want to see where he ends up. And there's another guy out of Vanderbilt here. Hopefully I can remember his name.
I feel like I know who you're talking about.
The forward out of
Vanderbilt.
it. White guy. Oh, Tyler Nickel. Here we go.
Tyler Nickel, yes.
Word. 6'6",
But
217.
all right, the Knicks actually do trade out of this pick at pick 31. They're trading with the Rockets. So Rockets move up 8 spots. It's 31-55 to Houston and 39-53 and a future second going over to the Knicks. You could very much tell how much they're trying to not be in the second apron. I mean, he's staying true to his word, which is disappointing in a lot of different fronts.
They keep. Oh, did you see all the job reports and stuff too?
As far as like attaching first round picks to him goes.
Yeah, like in Minnesota's not interested. Basically, New Orleans isn't interested. Just all these teams sort of pulling out of the job sweepstakes.
Yeah, and I think it is the Grizzlies' refusal to throw in first round picks or just any capital next to Morant, which I just think that you have to at this point just attach them and kind of see what happens afterwards. It kind of makes me fascinated. Like that's the reason why I would make that decision. As far as that goes, just like the Suns trading for John Morant. I would go ahead and just kind of take on that contract, especially for a Suns team that doesn't really have the assets to do so. And if you're able to hit on it, like that's completely cool. If you're able to hit on, Morant getting back into shape and whatnot. And honestly, like I would just prefer Booker back at point guard, or at shooting guard. That's my preference.
Oh yeah, me too. But he's 42 this coming season, and then he's 44, and then he's unrestricted.
Mm-hmm.
He's got no like player option or anything, so
Interesting.
you could be off him by 29, like if it doesn't work out. So,
but now you kind of, I mean, now we have the opportunity to talk about Houston. Now that they're gonna be up in a couple of minutes here, very fascinating season from Houston. Now we kind of just have to evaluate it from they tried to go in and be better than what they were the year prior as far as potentially pushing for a championship, and then they get ousted in the first round, and now everything is just kind of in flux with this organization. Like, do you run it back with this team? Is there a second round guy that just goes ahead and moves the needle?
Braden Smith. No, they probably traded up for the Duke guy here, right?
That Isaiah Evans, you're saying?
Yeah, why do I keep calling him the Duke guy? But yeah, he's clearly the best available from all the boards I've seen.
Yeah, the consensus kind of has him as that for sure.
I just don't know what else they would have traded up for here. Another passive wing who's just supposed to be able to shoot but can't shoot.
That sounds right up there, Ali. I mean, you also wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't necessarily be surprised if they end up going to center from UNC.
Oh, yeah.
Davis, what is Houston's timeline? Your best player is an aging star who doesn't fit your timeline. You're a T-Wolves fan, and so glad that you didn't trade for KD. Fair to that, and let's just put it in this way. Like, I don't necessarily think it's all Durant's fault, but let's take a look at a couple of his stops. Like, it's really not gone all that well. You just see a lot of restlessness in those locker rooms. Like, it was probably best for that to not be the case for you as a Timberwolves fan. But Houston's timeline is strange. I remember seeing a bit of a report of almost everybody but Amin Thompson being available for a trade, or at least them open to discussions on that. I do think that moving off of Durant and Şengün should be on the table. I take a look at Amin being kind of just like this elite glue guy. I wouldn't say he has the potential of being a number one, like how a lot of folks have kind of wrapped him up of being. But you're right. Like they're in a very precarious position right now where they don't necessarily have many fitting guys. And given what we had seen from Şengün and his value kind of lowering, and Durant only getting older, just what it really is your best routes. Do you have to replenish with better fitting talents? How are you able to do so? It's going to be a fascinating offseason. They might go ahead and just run this whole thing back. But at that same time, like them being able to trade up to 31 tells me that there's going to be a level of aggressiveness in trying to find something better fitting with this roster. And if that, whether or not that includes KD, is besides the points. This is Amin's team, and I think we talked about Isaiah Evans here. Like that probably feels like a really good landing spot here for Houston and for Evans himself as well.
You think Houston could talk themselves into a Jaylen Brown? Like we flip Şengün?
Well, they would talk themselves into that. I would personally do that. And I will say, like, I did see a report today of what's his face's name? The Celtics looking for a center and them being willing to offer Brown in a deal to do so.
How many centers in the league are worth Brown, though?
It's a good, very fair point. Like, there really isn't too many of these. Don't forget the burners. Yeah. I have a couple of nicknames for that I won't say personally. But it's fair to say, like, as far as centers go, you only probably trade them for the top two, because everybody else isn't really going to have that much of an impact, or at least the same impact that Brown does. So it's kind of a collection. And besides, like, I don't think Şengün for Brown straight up is an even deal. So I would imagine something else being sent out too.
Yeah. Do you agree with Amin being untouchable?
That's a fair question.
Because there's a thing, like, I think they're trying to bank on here is, like, if he develops a shot, he's going to be a max contract guy.
Mm-hmm.
But
like, I think of him as a max guy now. Like, that athleticism is so, like, you can't match that with really anybody in the league. Nobody can match that athleticism, aside from his brother, of course. And I do think that, from a defensive standpoint, he's annoying. From a finishing standpoint, he's really good at getting to the rim and just creating pressure there. I don't think he should necessarily be untouchable. It's not just because of the shooting, but from a primary playmaker perspective, and just having the ball in his hands a lot in the way that he does, you kind of grow concerned with that. He's a very turnover-prone player over with Houston, and you were able to see that quite a bit, particularly in that. I remember that first game, he was turning the ball over like crazy against the Thunder. Granted, it's the Thunder. They're always going to have a hand in the passing lane or in the crossover. But I don't necessarily think Thompson should be untouchable, especially if you were going to go after a Giannis per se. Like, I would have been willing to offer him up in a deal too.
What about Jaylen Brown? For Jaylen Brown?
I would rather offer up Şengün.
Yeah.
I'd rather offer up Şengün.
Oh, Adam Silver's gone.
Mark Tatum. Dave, I'm concerned about Amin's ceiling. If someone gave you a crazy offer, you have to take that. And it's fair. Like, I don't entirely disagree with that at all. Like, there's certainly a high upside ceiling if some things develop. But so far through 3 years, we haven't really seen much of the shooting ability develop, aside from maybe like a corner 3-point shot that I'll give him credit for. Like, he's developed into a reliable corner 3-point shooter. Otherwise, it's fair to question everything else, particularly on the offensive end, as far as shot creation goes.
I interest you in Ryan Dunn.
That's why would you say that? But I think we'll eventually have a Suns conversation. Like, it does feel like the offseason is done. As far as everything that our local guy is saying, Gambo.
Well, we got 47 still, right?
That was what we used to trade up.
Oh,
We traded up from 47, and we traded away 2 seconds.
ESPN's got to update their draft order thing here.
Yeah, I don't like seeing the actual team picking at the top. So small. But I do want to see what it's looking like right now in regards to Shams continues to talk about Jaylen Brown being in active trade discussions. Hopefully somebody
It's so funny for him get traded in the middle of the second round.
Okay, so it looks like it's just the same thing. They're in active conversations with folks.
It's got to be New Orleans, right?
Either New Orleans or Portland. Yes, sir, John. Round 2. We're going to get this shit going. But by everything, do you think it was worth it for them to go ahead and... I wouldn't even say worth it, because like the fallout is what's happening, and that's kind of not it. Would it have been worth it to go ahead and trade Brown for Giannis?
I think so. I mean, it's just so tempting having 2 guys at that level between Tatum and Giannis on the same team.
Mm-hmm.
And they're a smart team. It's a well-run team. I feel like they would have been able to figure it out.
Yeah.
And plus, if Giannis can do... there's questions about injury and stuff, but if you get a peak Giannis, how many players are better than that in the league?
Sure. Still a top 4 guy. It's certainly, maybe perhaps like I phrased it wrong, but there was something that was concerning to me in regards to Mazzulla's system and just how much he loves to bomb from beyond the arc, and just kind of how much more you're going to have to adjust your system, given that you have somebody that's just, famously called a run and dunk man. But that's almost besides the point. But now we kind of enter this falling out period with Jaylen Brown. I personally wouldn't trade Brown, even with as much of a, he has a ton of value around the league right now, especially after having close to an MVP caliber season, borderline MVP caliber season.
He was first team, right?
Was he first team?
Because who was Luka, Jokic, SGA?
He was second team. He was second team this year. First team was...
Oh, they gave Cade. Cade got the exception too, right, with Luka?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cade, Luka, Shea, Jokic, Wemby.
Wemby.
As first team. Interesting. All right. And by the way, that is such a hilarious looking All-NBA third team, if you're taking a look at that.
Oh, the All-NBA third team. I do remember it being something. They got to get rid of that 65-game rule.
I would agree with that easily.
Like, if you want to make a 45-game rule, like you have to play, or like a 41-game rule, you have to play half the games. Okay.
Mm-hmm. But Dave letting it be known that believes that they should trade away Jaylen, especially with everything that happened today, or at least in the last couple of weeks, the falling out. And I did see that as well, just them trying to shop for a big and whatnot. Yeah, like that's especially with how Brown has reacted over the last couple of days in regards to being a little bit more active on the social media and whatnot, and just being way more cryptic. Like, that's not something that's all that's feasible to bring back But Bruce Thornton is the pick for the Rockets. Let me go ahead. Again, this was not one of the guys that I had fully written up, but if I'm remembering correctly, I did have a couple of notes on him, and I could also just pull up some stats. I'll actually go to the site for it too. Again, like, I appreciate Draft Baller for being the site that they are. Hopefully, folks are able to see it from there. But Bruce Thornton, just from a metric standpoint, I mean, high volume mid range scorer, ranked in the 100th percentile in mid range percentage at 58%. In my eyes, that kind of shows me the on ball ability, and that is also shown over here on this stat over here, which is essentially just how many of his shots are assisted, and only 26 of his are assisted. So there's a little bit more creation ability that shows me. You sort of take a look at his frame. He's definitely on the smaller side, which is kind of his issue. He is 6'2", about 215 pounds. He's just very efficient inside the arc, and that type of frame that he has is a little bit more on the bigger side. From the point of attack perspective, playing on the ball, like, that's something that's very valuable to have, but not too much burst, not too much as far as his athleticism goes. He's functional, just nothing great as far as vertically speaking or laterally speaking goes. And just with his height generally, like, those types of guys are guys of that height is just going to have some limited upside in regards to his defense and whatnot. Solid player, probably not what I would have had in mind, particularly with the shooting need that this team has. But no, like, Bruce Thornton over here with the Rockets. It's another backup guard, which is, you can also think of it as sort of like that Aaron Holiday role if you want. Otherwise, like, Isaiah Evans is right there, and this team kind of needs that ancillary shooting piece from beyond the arc. And that's a thing that I don't entirely get from a volume perspective. Like, he'd be so beneficial, but shot 40% from three, and I think that's something that you can go ahead and hang your hat on.
Yeah, it's another guy for Udoka to play over Reed Shepherd.
And it really gets Rockets Twitter going.
One of the better NBA Twitters fan bases.
But John, what big are you trading for? I'm assuming that you're talking about the Celtics go. Embiid, that would almost feel like an overpay. Like, I think you would have to go ahead and
it's gonna be Embiid and stuff.
Yeah, it would be Embiid and stuff. And even then, like, I do like Phylon quite a bit over there. Maxey and Edgecombe can slide over to the 2 and 3 respectively. Like, I do think that would be a little bit of a smaller lineup, but, like, that's not a bad option. I think that whatever big they end up trading for, it's probably going to be that big and other things. So if they end up getting draft capital for Embiid, great. But I tend to look at Houston if you're just talking about a center speaking. Otherwise, it's really hard to think of many others. Like, it's probably not going to be Minnesota or any other team like that.
That would be nuts. Embiid on the Celtics would be so funny.
I mean, so many years of just saying, if you can't beat him, join him. He finally beats them, and he joins them.
He finally did his job.
But Baba Miller is your sleeper, and I get it, man. I won't lie. Like, I definitely didn't initially like the Baba Miller tape, just because he was on the slower side. And just athletically speaking, is maybe more so on the downside. He's, from everything that I had written up on him, I'll pull up his profile real quickly for you. There we go. Just, like, again, good score from the inside, good playmaking ability. He shows a good ability to be a connector piece, which is why that was a guy that's, if I was the Suns still picking at 47 and you weren't able to trade him in the first round, unlike how they were yesterday, I would have thought of Miller as a really good piece there as well. And especially like I talk about like just very quickly before we end it off, like a high turnover rate that came from him being a little bit more of a higher usage guy, forced to make a lot more decisions with the ball in his hands. But in a more condensed role where everything is going to be played a little bit faster, I don't think that would have been that would be an issue for any of these other second round teams. Like I think he could be a very reliable playmaker within short roll situations and what have you. So I don't mind that being your big sleeper here at all. He's a good prospect.
It's so weird how there's like 4 tables now on the draft floor there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Richie Saunders. So this was one of the first guys that I ended up watching as far as just like taking the notes, before the draft yesterday and entering today as well. Saunders is just an off-ball shooting savant. He was a ridiculous shooter. Like he shot 46% from the mid-range. He attempted 12 threes a night per 100 possessions, shot 38% from 3. And I'll just pull that up in the meantime, just pull up his metrics. Let me just be sure that I have the right one pulled up. Please tell me that's Richie. No, but I can pull up Richie still. So he again, 46% from the mid-range, 12 attempts per 100 possessions from 3 a night at 38%. High volume, which is a very good thing when you're talking about these specialists. Like he's very much a specialist to me. He comes off of screens. He does a lot of this stuff on fast breaks and in transition. He's very limited athletically. He's very limited in the self-creation ability. So you really expect him just to do a bunch of one dribbles off of the catch, etc. And he attacks closeouts really well. He does get, pump fake from time to time, and he has effective finishing ability, and that's shown in his 69% shooting at the rim on, this is good volume, 7 attempts per 100 possessions at the rim, given that he shoots as many threes as he does. That's a very valuable thing. He's very much a solid role player, and if I'm remembering correctly, this is staying with Memphis, right? Yes.
This pick's staying with Memphis, yeah.
So again, like this is a good ancillary shooting option, and I can very much imagine him being a very solid fit with Cam Boozer, with all of the quick decisions that Boozer makes as a ball handler and from inside the arc. Like Saunders is going to really benefit from just the attention that Boozer is going to get, and it's going to create a bunch of nice off-ball opportunities. So again, still not anybody with it. They're not my 3 best available players to me, but solid selection here that is going to fit around Boozer nicely.
Yeah, no, it was definitely a aspect that felt like it was missing last year for him. Just a consistent 3-point.
Especially with all the guys that were entering in and out of that lineup for Memphis last year, it just never really felt like they were able to have any sort of consistency, whether that was Morant getting hurt or Jaren Jackson in spurts. If I'm remembering it, like Ty Jerome, Scottie Pippen Jr., among all of the other names that they ended up using that season.
I forgot they had Ty Jerome. Scottie Pippen Jr. is underrated. I actually really like him.
Yeah, he's a solid prospect. Just, if he wasn't out for 5 months of the year. So this is Minnesota's pick from the Randall dumping. And Minnesota gets Isaiah Evans. There we go. So we can talk about it a little bit more here. Now we're back to the guys that I fully am able to talk about with confidence, of course. Like Isaiah Evans was my number 26 guy on the board, and you might be tuning into ESPN and you're able to see a deep range and off-ball shooting. Like that's his calling card. Attempted 7 threes per game. it's 16 attempts per 100 possessions, which is really crazy high volume. It's pull-ups, it's one dribble pull-ups. Like, you can go ahead and watch him play, and it usually is 2 to 3 dribbles before he gets to his three-point shots. He excels in off-ball movement, which makes that a really easy fit when you're talking about him next to Anthony Edwards and company. And he's a quick decision maker there. I think that's a very important thing. That's He's able to pump fake. He's able to get to the rim and have levels of playmaking responsibility in that area. Playmaking wise, he really isn't all that great. So an 8% assist rate for a guard is not very effective at all. And so you very much want him in that off-ball role, spotting up, finding him in transition. That's where he's most dangerous. Defensively, he's definitely limited there as well. Is a guy that he's not very quick from a lateral perspective, and he's not really all that strong either, so he kind of gets bullied into it. But this is an Isaiah Joe. This is a Landry Shamet, somebody that won't have the greatest of defensive abilities, but he will fight there, and just you can utilize him in so many different shooting scenarios. And I think that's just really an effective player for Minnesota, given how much they were struggling from that once DiVincenzo went down, and with Mike Conley kind of taking a dip as his Minnesota tenure has gone on. It's an important.
Wait, does this mean Mike Conley's on the chopping block?
I wouldn't say
he's so young.
On the chopping block. He's so young. Yeah. But yeah, good selection there by Minnesota. That was my best available player on the board.
No, especially without DiVincenzo for probably a majority of next year.
Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to dump him somewhere and try to get more cap flexibility, which is something that they've very weirdly emphasized this season, or this offseason, which is nuts trade that they made with Randall. Oh, they were quick with this pick. And Malik Thomas.
Hey! Pair him up. We got the De'Aaron Fox, Malik Monk. Close enough. Welcome back.
I think this pick is going to Cleveland.
Oh, it's going to Cleveland. Damn.
Yeah, this was the trade up that Sacramento did. But Malik Thomas, another one of these guys that I was able to fully write up on. And I won't lie, I was definitely lower on him given where I saw some projections of him being, whether that was mid to late first round. And I never really viewed him as a first round talent. This is among the 30 guys that I had watched, and Thomas does come in at 29. So, barely a first round guy to me, but very much just another bomber from beyond the arc. And he was elite from shooting from beyond the arc, 42% from there, just a shooting threat in all areas. And he was particularly a fan of the corners and the left wing. And if you're seeing on ESPN, you already see 3 left wing 3-point jump shots. So props to ESPN for listening to me on that. But a lot of off-ball shooting, a lot of movement shooting, that's going to be where he excels. Defensively, he just got better as the season went on. He looked lost quite a bit at the beginning of the season, and no fault of his own. Acuff was very much slacking on that end, and a large majority of this team was just not very effective defensively speaking. But he did just look much more engaged as the season went on. But I can't ignore how inadequate he looked as a defensive prospect at the beginning of the season was. His decision making needs some work there as well. He usually looks frantic and rushed whenever he does have the ball in his hand, so you kind of just want him to have it for maybe 2 to 3 seconds before he kind of self-destructs in those moments. But this is like a Tim Hardaway Jr., Jordan Clarkson type of player if he were able to reach his peak. Somebody that can do a little bit more off of the dribble, very quick 1 to 2 dribble, pull-ups and creation ability. If you're able to hone in on the decision-making, you have yourself a really fun 6-man type of player. But he ends up going to Cleveland. Yes, it was Cleveland. And that's not a bad fit there either, especially when they're kind of looking to offload Dennis Schroeder to allow for more Sam Merrill minutes to happen. And Keon Ellis is a free agent, and he didn't really do all that amazing in his tenure with Cleveland. This isn't that bad of a consolation prize. I I do wish that they just gave some of those minutes to Tyrese Proctor, who was one of my guys in last year's cycle. But that's completely besides the point. Like Thomas has a creation ability that will be valuable to Cleveland.
Yeah, solid pick. I thought he was going to be a end of the first round kind of guy, so to snag him in the second.
Okay, that was very strange that that's what they decide for my music. But let me go ahead and I do see the question that you have, Dave. Can the Lakers still sign Braun after the Reeves deal? So it's very strange with how it's all set up. They're going to sign LeBron or sign Reeves to his contract when the new league year begins. And that's going to be on July 6th, if I'm remembering it correctly. And that won't count against anything towards the cap. So whatever space that they're projected to have, they'll still have that. But with LeBron, they're not able to do so. And I don't have all of that kind of sorted out. I still need to do my reading and just kind of, figuring out what exactly the situation looks like. But he would count against the cap, unlike Austin Reeves does. So, yes, they can. It would just be limiting to what the Lakers are trying to accomplish with this Luka window that feels like it's kind of shortening as time goes on and kind of wants that championship level team really soon here. So they can still sign LeBron. It'll just limit their flexibility and what type of team that they're able to build around Luka.
Would you resign LeBron?
I wouldn't.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
I would not. I think that just getting a good center is just so important for that Lakers team. Having somebody with vertical spacing would just be just super important. We've seen that work with Dallas and Gafford and Lively over there. It just a whole lot on Brazil, and he's going to it's Trayvon.
Ooh.
Okay, so Trayvon Brazil, he was one of the first guys that I watched after the draft ended. I will say, like, he is a guy that has his inconsistencies. He's not going to be much of a self-creator. He's going to be a little bit more of that low-usage guy, which is perfect for a team like Denver, who, we understand that Jokic is going to be the hub. He is going to find all of these guys open from three or find them on basket cuts. Brazil very much fits that bill, especially since he has a really damn good athleticism. Like you talk about like a catch radius, him being able to catch lobs. I think that's a fun thing for myself to think about because he is able to move around pretty well on the offensive side of the ball. He's also very versatile defensively speaking. He had a 7'4" wingspan. He had, if I'm remembering correctly, I'll share the screen again. I think it was 3 combined like stocks per game, so a combination of steals and blocks. And you were able to see like he can move around the court really well if you have him more in an off-ball role, defensively speaking. But Trayvon Brazil, we could take a look at the metrics and like take a look at it. Like a 2.6% steal rate, really good for his size. 5.2% block rate for a wing, really good for his size. There is just a level of offensive inconsistency aside from finishing at the rim that is just like you wish that it was a lot better. But this is a fine swing for Denver to take. I won't lie, they don't have too many guys right now that are great as far as the development of their young guys, whether that's like a Strother, Zeke Naji, Hunter Tyson goes. I like this skill set over here with Denver, having yourself kind of like I won't say like an Aaron Gordon comparison per se, but just having somebody that can defend pretty solidly, somebody that can be athletic as he is with size and finish at the rim, that's really effective. It's really effective for Denver, so I don't mind that pick whatsoever.
Yeah, that's cool. I was gonna say Aaron Gordon, heir apparent. So no, but with a guy like Jokic, he's kind of creates for everyone. So I definitely love that pick. And plus, they just need better guys at that size. So
Yeah, easily. Solomon not really liking the not really liking his pick for the Cavs. Like again, like Malik Thomas is a pretty like he's a solid enough guy. You just kind of have to go ahead and find better defensive infrastructure for not just himself, but um, for your overall, backcourt with that comes with James Harden, who you're likely going to bring back, and Donovan Mitchell there. There's just more sizable wings that you should probably have that the team should have invested in. Like Brazil, I think would have been a really good fit here, just from a perimeter standpoint. But that's besides the points. Like I think there's like you have moves waiting. The Cavs are going to be doing a little bit more than just bringing back Harden and running this whole thing back. There's going to be some changes. Huh. So Clippers already rushing their pick in. I am curious because a lot of folks have talked about um, how much they don't really like the fit with Wagler over with the Clippers. I felt like that was like a chalk selection, but do you have any concerns about a backcourt pairing between him and Garland?
no, I think Wagler can play the two because I think that their intention is Garland's going to be their point guard for the next few years, next half decade at least.
It's kind of where
So
I'm thinking as well. And don't get me wrong, like there's a level of like slow motion, there's a level of athleticism that is missing within his game. I don't think that he really needs that. I think that if you wanted um if you really wanted that true two guard, you go ahead and you take a Burries, who can do a little bit of everything. But he's kind of a safe player, and for a Clippers team that's likely not going to be contending for championships anymore, you're going to want to bring in a little bit more higher upside, and I can see the upside here with Wagler being something that was emphasized when they were selecting at pick 5.
yeah, I thought it might be signify something that Kawhi might be on the move. There he is.
Von Miller. Huh, I like that too. And, it's a shame. This is like my last guy that I have fully written up. He came in as, my number 30. And, John, happy for your sleeper. And I know that my boy Caesar, whenever he ends up showing up, this is another really good what is this at pick 36? So among the third rank as but I believe that he would have came in at my 30 or my 48 or 55, like how Handspell and ESPN do. Very physically gifted, 6'10", 7'1" wingspan. He just looks like a big body out there when you watch him. His rebounding was really excellent as well. He just crashes really well. His frame allows for him to be very effective there as well. And that comes with him. That also plays a benefit in his defensive versatility. He just moves very well on the floor, which is surprising given how broad he is within his frame, and being able to move around like that at that size is kind of like I don't see that often, especially for somebody who's probably going to play the center position more than the 4. There's not really much evidence of him being a shooter, and that will probably be a drawback. Like there's really no indicators of that, and my big indicator is the free throw rate, and he only shot 62 at the free throw line, which isn't all that great to me. And even with his frame, like he can be outmatched quite a bit as far as the physicality of the game, and you look for the core strength to be developed a little bit more to make him a little bit more functional as a defensive piece. Because if you're able to do that, you have a really fun prospect here for the Clippers here. Kind of reminiscent of like a Tumani Kamara, a Jonathan Isaac, probably more so an Isaac more than a Kamara, especially since Kamara has developed a little bit more of a shot, a little bit more of an off-ball game. But somebody who can very much defend 1 through 5 if asked. Like you don't expect him to be a lockdown on quick guards per se, but just has very good physical and athletic traits, defensive versatility and IQ, and passing IQ that will allow for him to be very effective in the league. I fully expect him to end up at the end of the season being like a rotation piece for this Clippers squad.
He seemed to be one of these guys who sort of rose his stock through draft season.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. Especially, I think, he was a 4-year guy during his collegiate career. I want to take a look at him really quickly. Yeah, he was a 4-year guy from Spain. And he, if I'm remembering correctly, like he was a highly touted guy. Then he goes to Florida State, only plays in 15 games, doesn't really show out all that well. So his stock completely fell after that. Ended up playing more the next year, and he didn't really produce all that well for Florida State either. He transfers the next year to Florida Atlantic, and he has an improved role there. He played 30 minutes a night, and then he decided to bank on himself one more time and go to Cincinnati, and this was probably his best year. Nothing too crazy. I do think that he tested well from what I'm remembering, but my memory could be off there too. But just an interesting thing that we're going to see a lot more 4-year guys, 3-4-year guys going ahead and reaching, back end of the first and maybe a majority of the second round type of territory now.
OKC's up. I mean, what do you add?
Yeah, why do they have another pick? Good thing that they don't have Brazil or Miller at this rate.
Yeah, that.
Like, truthfully, like everything that they're able to add on now is house money that they're playing with. So if they wanted to add another big, you could go crazy with that. I wouldn't mind like an Emmanuel Sharp here, who was a guy that I took a couple of quick notes on as far as like shooting gravity goes. We'll talk about that when we get to Sharp, but that's the guy that I would think of first. Brian Conwell. That's a that's a really solid selection, man. He was expected to be like a late first, early second too, and of course he ends up in OKC. Like, this is a really good prospect. Again, they're going to talk about him being a shooter, and that's really what he is. Like, he's a really good shooter, but he has legitimate shot making ability. I'll go ahead and share my screen again. Where can I find draft baller? So it was Ryan Conwell. So he ended up being 36 on this board. But I mean, take a look at that. 17 attempts per 100 is nuts. That's really insane. So not only do you have a bomber off the ball. Oh, this is going to Miami. Great. That's amazing then. So even better for Miami, you have yourself a bomber from beyond the arc. Just really good shot making around that front, whether that's, off of screens, a lot of dribble pull-ups, doing things off of the dribble. Like, he can be an on-ball, off-ball guy from a shooting perspective. And on defense, he has a good amount of strength. Like, I do think that he has a decent enough frame to at the very least bother opposing offensive players and staying put. He does have the stigma of being a senior guard, being a little bit more on the shorter end. From, I believe he was 6'3", 6'2". So you do have your levels of concerns there, but this is like a really solid prospect for Miami to end up getting, especially now that you just depleted all of your assets as far as spacing goes with Ware and Hero. Um, and the fact that you don't really have many creators at this moment with no avenues to bring back Norman Powell, this is a really nice cheap option for them to attain here and try to develop. He'll fit in very solidly next to, very well actually, next to Giannis and Bam in the front court.
Yeah, he's definitely offensively gifted. Some questions about his defensive ability.
Mm-hmm.
Can feel like he's kind of just out there, surviving, but
Yeah, like he has his lapses. Like he's a ball watcher. Like he'll go ahead and just kind of lack onto watching the ball handler instead of his man. It's just a matter of owning in on just being focused is really like the most cliche thing in the world, but just being a little bit more of a engaged on that front. And I think you will be if you're in a on a SPO coached team. You know, everybody's going to be engaged defensively speaking. And I think that they believe in that. You know, they wouldn't draft a player like that if they didn't believe in the all around ability, I guess you could say, or their talents on both ends of the court.
got Chicago now.
At this point, it's kind of house money here too. Like they're my big winners regardless of what they end up picking here. Like ideally, you probably get yourself more consistent shooting and floor spacing. I wouldn't mind like Henry Visar from North Carolina. Like they're still looking for a very good center. And it's not to say Nick Claxton isn't, but it is to say that he's probably a little bit more on he's probably more so on the downside of his career, as crazy as that sounds. Like he's still young, but he's clearly getting devalued, and it's mainly stemming from just offensive fouls and not being able to be effective on that end, and being able to bring yourself in like an offensive minded center in VSAR. Like I would not mind that for them at all. Floor spacing would probably be my pick here for Chicago from any position.
Took my guy Nickel out of Vanderbilt.
But I will say, like, I'm very happy that Conwell isn't going to Oklahoma City. We'll see what they end up sniping at 41. But Mark Tatum coming up here.
So whenever Silver's done, is this guy going to be the next commissioner?
That would be what I think. That was how it was when Stern was the commissioner and Silver was doing the second round. They select Braden Smith. There we go, actually. That's great.
5'10".
So, all right. All-time assist leader. Probably your favorite guy. Like, I might just give you the floor here. Oh, he's not going to Chicago.
Oh, where's he going?
He is going to Indiana for
the TJ McConnell replacement.
For Cam Jones, future swaps, and some cash. So probably second round pick swaps, but all right. They had to give up a prospect. Like, I know that they really liked Cam Jones from the draft last year. Interesting. I mean, you sound way more in tune with with Braden Smith. I'm gonna let you take the floor for this one.
I like he's a winner. All right. No, that's perfect. He's going to Indiana after the TJ McConnell comp. His ability as a playmaker is undoubtable. I mean, the all-time leading assist guy in college basketball now. So I think that's got to be why Indiana wants him, right? Because TJ McConnell's nearing the end here.
Mm-hmm.
So to have a guy backing up Halliburton that could come in, run the offense for 10, 15 minutes a game, and you're not just dumping yourself into a hole.
Yeah, man. Like, if they're, please tell me this is, yes, it is. Take a look at that assist rate, man. 43% of the team's assists came from him. He was sensational as a playmaker. You take a look at, a low turnover rate as well. 8.8 assists to 2.8 turnovers feels like that shouldn't be the case, especially when you're talking about college ball with the amount of ball handlers that end up getting rushed into certain decisions and certain types of shots. That's really good. We'll say like 36% from three. Maybe you could be a little bit more efficient from there. Maybe you go ahead and be a little bit more high volume in that regard. You do worry just a little bit. You worry quite a bit about the size, but I think this is also just a moment where he's a really good basketball player. He can pass it, he can shoot it, he can fight. You take the talented basketball player when you're in this type of situation where really everything else about these other prospects, it's kind of unclear their trajectory. I think you kind of know what you're getting out of Smith, and I think that's going to be really effective here for Indiana. As a development piece, you gave the McConnell comp. Like, you kind of nailed this.
Yeah, I'm actually starting to look forward to this because McConnell was taken about the same range, right?
He
Or
was
he
a
got
second
undrafted.
rounder. I think he was a second rounder. TJ McBuckets was, geez, he is 34 years old. He was undrafted.
Look at
He
that.
was undrafted. Played in college for 5 years.
Yeah, I remember him at Arizona. That's shocking he wasn't drafted. But the league has learned from its mistake. And now the second coming.
The second coming. You're ridiculous.
The second Mick coming. Trademarked.
Trademarked. Everybody owes you a penny. You might get 5 pennies. Knicks up. Are they? They're actually gonna get themselves a player.
Actually gonna take someone.
Jack Kyle. Now, this was not a guy that I ended up taking notes on. I know that he's a international guy. Let me
This
pull
guy's
it up from No
actually from
Ceilings real
Germany.
quickly. So No Ceilings, we'll look at Jack Kyle real quickly just to have a little bit of analysis as far as like what folks are saying about his skill set. So a lot of the talk about him is just his ball handling, just a good ball handler. And from the few clips that I saw, like I didn't take notes on him, but the few things that I saw, smooth offensive player. Like he has good shot making flashes. He has good form to do so. He can get to the rim. He can handle it a little bit. He's just not all that efficient at this moment in time. You think of his finishing at the rim. He only shot 47% finishing at the rim. He shot below 40% from three, or shot below 40% in 3 straight seasons, which feels, like that's a ton of inefficiencies there. And you can't really think of him as like a primary initiator, even with how good of a ball handler he is. He's probably a 2 guard. And if you're just thinking about that skill set over with the New York Knicks, like I wouldn't be surprised if this ends up being like a draft and stash. We'll see how that ends up working out. Maybe like a 2-way guy. Like he definitely does need quite a bit of development. He has his flashes, at least in the clips that I saw. But he's just a development piece, and I think at this stage for New York, you don't really need too many. Um, like you can't really fill out the roster too much at this, with high quality guys. You kind of need to take us some swings, and I think Kyle's a decent one.
He's got to be pretty young, right? Said he was committed to Gonzaga before declaring for
Yes,
the draft.
he was. Um, he is 20 years old.
Okay.
6'3", on the lighter side at 174, 74 pounds. I will
Yeah,
say,
definitely.
I still talk about VSAR quite a bit, and with the potential of them losing out on Mitchell Robinson, losing him in free agency. Like again, I don't. We'll see what ends up happening with their free agencies in regards to Mitchell Robinson, Landry Shamet, among some of the other names. Um, I wouldn't mind like VSAR as like insurance here. Dylan Mitchell here for Boston. So Mitchell, let me pull him up really quickly. Dylan Mitchell. Also, I wanted to mention it to you. There's a player named, there's a Baba Miller and there's a Boopy Miller. Just wanted you to be aware of that.
Uh,
But in the few clips that I saw some, really good defensive abilities, and he has, very good indicators of that in regards to his block and steal rates. And I'll pull it up for you real quickly here. Uh, Dylan Mitchell. That's the film. Yeah, like a 2.6% steal rate for somebody that is way more on the ball. Really effective thing. 2.6% block rate. You know, I think that's very effective for somebody that is moving around as much as he is. Very good wingspan at 6'11". Like he's able to move around. Like it pops very, very well here. Shooting is his biggest thing, man. 19% from three on only 57% like career attempts. That's not going to cut it. There's very much like not a lot of semblance of an offensive game. You're very much looking at somebody who uh, you're looking at dunker spot opportunities. You're looking at him as maybe a screener. Um, you're not really looking at somebody with a high offensive upside. You're looking at somebody who you're expecting them to be a specialist. Maybe you have him come in here and be something of like like high end comp would be like a Derek Jones Jr. Like I think he is that athletic. He is that good defensively speaking. Everything else about his offense is a humongous work in progress. And you kind of put that in conjunction with like a Boston team that doesn't really bomb it from, or that does bomb it from beyond the arc. You do think about that just from a wing perspective. Is that viable? They'll find a way. They'll probably find a way for him to be like a screener, and try to make some short roll decisions, which is something that he excelled at last year as well. Just wanted to point that out. Like he's a solid playmaker in his own right.
yeah, it's a little surprising, considering the 3-point numbers,
Yeah.
especially the way they like to play. Because they're well, I mean I guess the Knicks series from 2 years ago
hmm
is like holy shit. You guys are just gonna keep pulling these?
Otega Owe.
Oh wait.
Let me pull him up really quickly. Otega Owe. Believe he's from Kentucky. He is from Kentucky. Again, like you talk about somebody who's very much not there from the shooting perspective. Like he can become a league average shooter, but like he doesn't really have the greatest of mechanics per se. A lot of folks sag off on him on offense. And the thing that sucks is like you can't really trust him as a ball handler either. Like he's just very loose. When he does dribble and he doesn't really bend defenses with his handle or with his shooting. So how he's able to become functional offensively, that's going to come with his athleticism. Very much a dunker spot guy. He's very strong in all areas, like in his core, in his upper, and in his lower body. Like that's probably his best ability right there. He is just raw athleticism at this moment in time. He is an offensive, liability at this moment. But defensively, like you take a look at that and think, that's probably your other calling card when you combine like his athleticism and effort with defensive ability. Like he's able to generate steals a decent amount. You think of him a little bit more like best case scenario is like a Lou Dort. Like if you're able to really get the shooting going, but you can't fully expect that at this moment in time. It's if he's this looks like the Thunder's pick here. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting. There is a different trade that just happened. We'll talk about that soon. Um, if you're just talking about, he's going to go to OKC, and that's a decent development, track. If you're looking at a Lou Dort upside player, that's not a bad player to take with that archetype, given how you were able to make that function.
Yeah, his explosiveness and just his ability to get downhill is something that just when you watch him on TV throughout the season is something that sticks out.
But the trade in question that I'm talking about, the Pistons traded away Isaiah Stewart to the Grizzlies for
Oh damn!
three second round picks, and that's it.
So does Isaiah Stewart walk in there day one, try picking a fight with Cam Boozer?
I would be damned if he decided to do that. Interesting trade there. Like, so as I try to process it, they're probably making a pretty big play at Norman Powell.
Well, the Pistons?
They were, yeah.
Yeah.
But like before Reeves signed his contract, everything that was reported by Windy and company made it a point to mention that the Pistons were going to make a run at Reeves, and they had deals lined up to dump some guys, and that included the likes of Isaiah Stewart. And now with Reeves gone, really the only other viable ball handler is Norman Powell. So that's where my mind immediately goes, and I have my concerns.
And they're going to be paying Duran, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're going to have center depth between him and Paul Reed.
Mm-hmm. Who is the number one projected prospect for next year? It is probably Tyron Stokes. I have seen quite a bit of his games when he was in high school over in the Seattle area, but I don't mind taking a look at 27 mocks really quickly. Like Tyron Stokes is probably your one that most folks are going to talk about. I see guys like Caleb Holt, he's an Arizona commit. Jordan Smith Jr., who's an Arkansas commit. Braylon Mullins, the guard from UConn. Bruce Branch is another one. I actually got to watch Bruce Branch over at Perry. He was teammates with Three-Peat, and he was a really effective player from a defensive perspective from the games that I watched of him at Perry.
Do you have that Slovenia guy on there?
Slovenia. Which guy would that be?
Stefan Yaksimovic? This is just the random.
Yeah,
this is the first one that popped up.
I just went ahead and looked up Bleacher Report 27 mock way too early. They have him at 18.
Okay, yeah, they had this guy at 4.
Jacoby Gillespie. Jacoby Gillespie going to the Spurs. The player that's a combination of John Morant, Kobe Bryant, and Colin Gillespie.
Yep.
But but Jacoby Gillespie, um, I if I'm remembering, like I liked his shot making, man. Like I thought he was really effective as an on-ball guy. Let me share the stats with you real quickly here. Uh, Mr. Jacoby Gillespie, the metrics. Again, like a bomber from beyond the arc. Again, not the greatest percentage here, but if you're attempting as many threes as he does, you kind of can't, you know, you can't fault him for that. You do wish the efficiency was better. Like, don't get me wrong, but I think it's more effective to have somebody bomb from three early in the shot clock than just kind of spend 20 seconds of the shot clock going ahead and trying to do all these fluff actions. So I think that was an effective thing that he was able to do. Defensively was, a +3 there, and I think a lot of that stemmed from his overall ability to um, just play with efforts and constantly play 94 feet and get some pressure on some of the lead guards there. And he had a 3% steal rate, and for somebody that was able to play 94 feet and he just generated a ton of plays. He was a defensive playmaker there. But again, like this is another guy who is 5'11", about barely teetering below 6 foot. That's going to get picked on quite a bit. You combine that with like not having too much burst on his drives, and you're able to see that in him only shooting 58% at the rim. And he gets to the rim quite often. Like that's a good thing for somebody of his size, but you certainly expect a whole lot more efficiency from there if you're going to get to the paint that much. And you kind of just can't really expect that to be the case for somebody of his size at the next level. So he's going to have to really hone in on his shooting ability. And with the San Antonio Spurs team, um, that has very much emphasized efficiency around Wemby, you kind of have to hone in on your off-ball ability, and I think Gillespie can go ahead and do so. He has tools to do so, but it's just going to have to require a mentality change and a role change, and I think that role change will benefit him in the long run.
San Antonio, right? I'm not sure when you just got picked by.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, because they have like the back-to-back picks here, kind of. It's throwing me off.
Man, this is really interesting because, like, man, Stewart's a good player, man. Isaiah Stewart.
Yeah, I
I
don't
find that
know.
really weird to see, contenders in their respective conferences go ahead and dump legitimately valuable players. Like Stewart's a legit defender. It's just getting dumped for seconds. That's weird to me. Tyler Bilodeau going to Brooklyn. I'll pull him up. Bilodeau, where are you at? So from UCLA, another one of those really good shooters. Like he shot 363s during his collegiate career. Let me see if he has any. If I could search up his stats through his draft profile here. No, but that's okay. As far as like his shooting goes, like he's a really effective shooter. 360 career threes, 40% from three throughout his time at Oregon State and UCLA. And for somebody that isn't really all that sizable in regards to, he'd probably fare better as like a center. Like he's just really good as a rebounder. You kind of take a look at some of his other things as far as defensive playmaking goes. Like it's really not all that effective. That some of it is, he doesn't really have that great of length. You talk about his lack of athleticism being there, and you don't really see much playmaking there. I kind of think of him way more as just a stretch four. You think about his shooting as his main calling card and being a little bit of a bigger guy there. You kind of think of like an old school guy. If you remember like a Ryan Anderson, that would be a pretty decent like high ceiling, high end comp for him. If you're looking for somebody a little bit more modern, you kind of think of like uh, you kind of think of like an Aldama, Santi Aldama.
Is Ryan Anderson pre-modern?
Like you don't see that type of archetype of player where they're
That
just
was
kind
true.
of not very much defensive playmakers. You kind of need to play both ends.
I was checking the chat here. If Stewart turns into Grizzly Zebo, it's a top 5 trade all time.
Oh, one of the best ones. But I think he just gets that from the like. I'm assuming that you're talking about it from like a junkyard dog mentality perspective. Really bully ball. Um, like Zach Randolph level. No. Zach Randolph, effort wise, and just kind of being like the epitome of like what grit and grind can be. Like I can imagine that for sure. I can imagine that for sure.
Yeah, Isaiah Stewart's definitely, and Zach Randolph, like, just mentality-wise, smack the shit out of you. It will do that.
Oh shoot! Hopefully my light doesn't fall. um, but now it's like a weird front court that's like very versatile. It's Boozer, it's Edie in the as the starters. Um, you bring in Isaiah Stewart as a backup guy, and then you have Santi Aldama still waiting back there. Who else am I forgetting? I could just be tripping the rest of the way.
No, they did
I mean,
unfortunately lose Clark.
Oh yeah, they do have yeah. R.I.P. to him. That was a sad one. But Taylor Hendricks is another guy that they acquired in the Jaren Jackson trade. Like that's another forward that I like for them. They also drafted Kareem Lopez, so like it's a pretty crowded front court, all things considered.
Yeah, I definitely agree, though. It should be a fun team, especially if they can get that sort of just muddy the waters
Yeah.
mentality. Yeah.
The Spurs really have this very many picks? I didn't think so. Ugh. I'm surprised. Like I talk about Visar quite a bit. This fall is a surprise. Like I thought he was borderline first, early second to me. Like his slide has to end soon. I had no idea Shumpert was on this draft coverage either. This is different.
They keep like flipping him out with, I think, John Wall.
For ESPN?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
I could have sworn that getting Mandela affected in real time.
Like I remember when it was Kendrick and RJ. That was
Moody.
it was rough to put it lightly. I just wish they had more draft guys on ESPN.
Yeah, I'm just
I'll
shocked
probably,
it isn't Pat McAfee and Stephen A. Smith on
that's
the panel.
great then. I do want to end up going on a rant on this on ESPN draft coverage. I'm going to talk about that at some point soon. Malik Brown. Okay. Let me get to him really quickly. Malik Brown. So from Duke, was mainly, another one of these role-playing type of bigs. Do they have the stats over here on the site? No, they don't. That's okay. That's okay. A lot of it's going to stem from his defense. Like he's able to switch out really 1 through 5. He's 6'10", 6'9". Just very good positional versatility. Like he doesn't really, he's not necessarily a guard, but you can go ahead and just place him in a number of different lineups that allows for him to kind of, fit in smoothly. He doesn't really overlap with anybody, and that does stem from the fact that you know, he can pass it a little bit. Like I think he moves around really well, and defensively, like he can swat shots at a really good rate. Shooting is going to be another one of his. Um, like that's something that you wish was a part of his game. You kind of see it from like a 6'9" guy, and you think, man, is this like can you get yourself a high end guy like I think it's hard to think of a high end guy. Like my main thing when I saw him was like a Jonathan Mobo. He was an early second round guy a few years ago, drafted by Toronto, who has like all the physical tools and the athletic traits in the world, all the intangibles in the world, but really didn't um, have like one standout trait aside from being a high effort defensive guy, and he's kind of been uh, filtered out of the Raptors' future and out of like their prospects list. But like this isn't a bad development piece if you're just talking about defensive efforts. Like clearly they're doing all of this to pony up on the Spurs and on the Knicks, so it makes sense to bring in more defense here to help them out. Jeez, like that. Don't be saying that about my goat John Wall solo. Like that is my
John
main
Great
guy.
Wall.
I had a whole eighth grade paper here, going ahead and talking about how he's going to end up one of the 10 best point guards ever. And I'm so sad that it's not coming to fruition.
I was like, oh wait, he can't shoot. Yikes.
Emmanuel Sharp for Sacramento. Okay. This I like better than the Caravan pick. Caravan is very much a guy that I struggle to get behind. Caravan is mainly just your shooter. Like the more that I thought about it as the last 24 hours have happened, the more that I just thought like this isn't really like a necessary land like this. He's not going to be all that highly valued over in Sacramento if you're just going to have him be an off-ball guy. This guy, Emmanuel Sharp, I really like. Again, really effective shooter from beyond the arc, shot about 37% from there. Defensively was really where he was making his impact. The defense was 4 points better with him on the court. You take a look at. Give me 1 sec as I kind of scroll down my quick hitting notes. But like shooting wise, like he's really good from the corners, and you're able to see that in his shot chart over here. Just like a whole lot more brightness over here around this area. Um, he's very effective over there. He shot about 53% on those 3-point jumpers. You talk about just having a good motor as a 6'3" guy. Like that's really an effective thing. He is athletically limited there too, and that's going to be kind of like the calling cards and the wild card traits for each of these smaller guys. It's going to be size, and it's going to be a lack of creation due to their athletic ability. Like he will be constrained quite a bit, but that's another really solid shooting piece there. It's a high effort defensive guy, and when you talk about a Sacramento team that doesn't really have many high effort guys, you kind of think about that in the form of Darius Acuff there as well, being not the most high effort guy. This is a very solid culture setter, if you say so. Like I think that he could very much develop into somebody that would be valued by this team for a very long time.
Orlando's finally picking.
Felix Okpara. Now, I'm going to learn about this guy with you because I'm not all that familiar with Felix Okpara.
If
From
Carson was in here.
Tennessee, like I know if Carson was here. Um, Anywhere here? No, okay. So Okpara wasn't on my radar. From No Ceilings, they talk about being able to move his feet really well, just having good lateral mobility. They talk about rim protection, a 7% block percentage. Um, you talk about, not being much of a connecting piece and having his overall offensive scoring ability be very limited. I see some Nick Claxton, John Henson, Isaiah Jackson comps. Um, like that's not a terrible player at all. For Orlando, it makes sense to have somebody a little bit more cost controlled, a little bit more on the development side, given that they're probably not going to keep Bidadze. I think they gave him an extension a season or two ago, and it's not that it's aging bad, but you are paying Paulo, Wagner, and Bain 30, 40 plus $1 million a year. Kind of need to cut your ties, and if you kind of need like your Bidadze replacements, this isn't a bad player to have here either. At least from what I read, that's not a bad player to try to invest in.
Is he gonna try throwing hands with everyone in the league, like Goga?
I wouldn't expect that. I don't think that he would be making comments about other players' families to them. If you're
Oh,
remembering
that's what it
his
was.
couple with
Who?
Luca.
Luca. That's right. Okay. Out of all the guys to be shit talking.
Ban OKC and the Spurs. I mean, they're beatable. As much as it feels unfair, like they're beatable. We've seen it.
Shoot a small guard.
No. Granted, this is an outlier year, and like very likely it was just going to be them two for a while. But the Knicks has now posed like an interesting conversation as far as like we're not going to go ahead and look at teams as the model teams for championship winners or championship contenders because ultimately the last 5 or 6 winners of the championship have been completely different. The Knicks team, they have no homegrown stars. Everything that they did with their team was through trade and through free agency. Take a look at the Thunder. Granted, they're in a very special case because of the amount of assets that they have to bring in the young talent, but they're very much a successful development story. Boston, it's the combination of the two development guys and everything else by way of trade. Remember all those years when the Warriors won, and we had a lot of conversations on my old radio show on Triple Double about how they could be like the model example of how to build out a team by having a 2 timeline type of roster where you have the young guys that are developing being paired up with the older star level players. There's no true model to winning championships nowadays. It's going to be tough, no matter what route you go. Don't get me wrong. In the West, it's going to be a dogfight with the Spurs and the Thunder in the way. Nobody's unbeatable, is how I'll put it. It'll be hard. Nobody's unbeatable at this moment anymore. With so much parity around the league, too. Like, I don't expect anybody to be repeat champions for a while.
Well, especially with the way the CBA set up, you're one injury away from your team just.
Yeah. Okay, so Felix is actually going to go to Washington instead.
Okay.
Let's think of like a Claxton type over in Washington. Let me just kind of look at their roster. Like, that's not awful. Like, that's a different type of look in regards to, you have AD, one of the best defensive players ever, and then Sar is just able to move around across the court. And if you're imagining somebody like Akpara going ahead and being closer to the rim and just being a rim protector in that way, like that's not too hard to envision being a decent development story.
Here he is.
Tyler Nickel. I mean, you sound like this is your guy.
Oh, dude. White guy, 3-point shooter. Just catch that rock and pull it.
I forgot who it was. Who was the player that made his first 2-pointer of the year last year?
Oh, it was one of the
it was that game winner.
It was one of the whatchamacallit, Cinderella teams. Or they didn't go super far. They lost to Arkansas. What was that? What team was that?
But you know who I'm referring to.
Yeah.
So in a lot of his own ways, like this is like the same story. I mean, he only attempted less than 2 shots per game at the rim per 100 possessions. Tyler Nickel did. It is just a straight up shooter. Like he finished at the rim well on his 2 attempts, but 13 attempts per 100, 40% from downtown. Oh shoot. We'll stop the sharing right there. Why did you do that? There we go. It's kind of back. But that's almost besides the point. Like, he is essentially your big time shooter. You kind of take a look at the other parts of his game, and it's really underwhelming from a defensive perspective as far as, the steal rates go and what have you. And that's going to remind me what team he just got drafted by.
New York Knickerbockers.
Like that makes sense as like makeshift Landry. Like, I won't straight up compare him to Landry Shamet, but given what role he played over here this year and being able to knock all those shots down, like that's a nice little theoretical piece to develop.
Hey Landry,
we're say we're good.
Tyler Nichols.
I would say like I wouldn't say it's a big miss by me because, again, like he got drafted around the range that I expected him to all those years ago. But the Knicks drafted a player in the late first round. His name was Pacome Dadier. He was another really good shooting prospect that had a lot more athletic upside to his name, and it just never has developed in the way that I was hoping. He won a championship, good for him. But he hasn't really gotten much consistent burn. And I'm just like, I wanted that one to work.
Who's going to Dallas?
Toby Lawal.
Hey, can I say, Pacers will never win a championship. Are we selling on Braden Smith already?
I wouldn't sell on Braden Smith.
Possibility.
Lawal. Now, to think that this is only the second player in the league that has that last name ever. The Suns have the other man. His name is Gani Lawal.
They're related at all?
No, I would certainly hope not. Gani was not much of a player here for the Suns. But as far as Lawal goes, like, your biggest hopes are within his rim scoring, getting to the rim. He made more than 70% of his shots at the rim. Like, he's a forward. Like, he's 6'8", 214 pounds. Like, he's a very effective finisher, and that's going to be his main calling card, along with his athleticism. Shooting is his downside. He only ranked in the 18th percentile on his jumpers last year. And, he didn't really do much inside the work creation as far as his jumpers either. Only 4 of those shots came from that mid-range area on his jumpers. You kind of think of him as like a Hamidou Diallo in a way. Like you're trying to think of like just a bunch of other athletic finishing guards slash wings who just has the athletic tools to really make it far and be good on both ends, but just hasn't really shown that ability at this moment in time.
They are kind of burning through this.
Yeah, we just passed over the 2 hour mark again. Seriously, I appreciate everybody that continues to join in on the live. And this is nerd territory. Like who watches day 2 of the NBA draft after all. So again, we seriously appreciate y'all for trusting us with your draft coverage here. And I feel like this is an easy spot. Can I talk about ESPN and like draft coverage
Oh,
there?
yeah.
Kind of, I want to go on my rant. It might be a yearly rant at this moment because you look at like football, right? You have like the Matt Millers, who's he's in my mind right now just because he did get into his car accident. He actually had his arm amputated. But you take a look at like Matt Miller on ESPN. You talk about Mel Kiper, Todd McShay being like lead draft analysts. They have football on ESPN has their own separate coverage for this sort of stuff. And they're getting the TV appearances. They're going ahead and explaining to folks what exactly makes these players the way that they are. And I think it just leaves a lot of room for interpretation as far as you can evaluate these guys at with so many different perspectives. All of these guys have very different opinions on it, and I think that's kind of what makes the draft content fresh, even if they're wrong in some regards. Like it's fresh content, it's differing opinions. It's not an echo chamber like how the NBA is, where they don't really have their own side of NBA draft coverage. They used to have like Mike Schmitz all those years ago, like when I was in middle school and high school. He ends up leaving, and he's now the general manager for the Mavericks, after working with like Portland's front office for a while. And then they have like Wasserman is another decent one. He doesn't make many appearances on ESPN at all. None of the guys that do the draft coverage here on ESPN are on TV making these appearances. And they're unable to get that information out there that's reliable and informative to us fans that are going ahead and watching these young guys come into the league. And we're seeing a bunch of insiders here talking about deals. We're talking aggregators, right? Once the narrative was shaped early in the season, they don't move off of it, and it gets repeated by everybody else from a national level. I just wish that their coverage actually emphasized the NBA draft way more than they show, because I think these young guys kind of deserve that credit for this is a hard sport. Like they should be getting the credit that they should be, for all of the elevations and improvements or not within their games. Like these players deserve some shine, and I don't think these guys have done a good job of doing so, at least from a national perspective.
No, well said. Yeah, I don't know why Windhorse and Shams have to be on the broadcast
Mm-hmm.
at the same time. And I mean, even some of the other like Legler, I like Legler. Definitely a big ball
Yeah.
knowledge guy, but how much college ball is he watching throughout the year when his job is
Yeah.
literally to call the NBA games?
Yeah, like Jay Billis is a good one. Like he's good at this sort of stuff, and he's been here for a while. It just never has felt like he has gotten much of that TV shine, or just had those opportunities to speak. You can go ahead and say like he has his big board up, for ESPN, but that's really to the extent of it. From time to time they'll check in with him, but everything is all insider related.
Let's talk about the potential Jaylen Brown trade for the 15th time. Yeah.
It's funny. Milwaukee gets the 60th pick now, so congratulations to them.
Mr. Relevant.
But Mr. Irrelevant. I did see the pick there. That was Bryce Hopkins. Let me go ahead and see if I have any stats or anything written down on him. No, but that's okay. We'll go ahead and check out Hopkins here. I have no ceilings help us out here. So another St. John's guy. He's 6'7", 218 pounds. He's on the older side, on 24. And it's not bad to go ahead and, it's not bad to be old, 24 years old, but just from a rookie perspective, like you gotta keep that in mind. As far as everything that I'm reading, shooting consistency, shot creation being a couple of things that he should be working on. Like there's not much bully ball, not much wiggle in his game. Physically speaking, he has like a grit and grind mentality as far as what these guys are saying here. I see a Kenrich Williams comparison. That wouldn't be too bad, especially if he was ever able to develop the shooting consistency. That doesn't sound like a bad prospect to have, and I think this was Denver's selection.
Yep. Going to Denver.
Okay. Like again, it feels like there's a theme here now with Denver, with bringing in more of like the more physically gifted guys, playing a little bit more physically speaking with their wings and whatnot, so just being a little bit more off ball, a little bit more cutting there, like with him and Brazil there. That's not a bad option there at all. Now, remind me if it's Brazil or Miller. I think it's Brazil.
Denver?
That they drafted earlier. Brazil. Yeah. Okay. You're Kendrick Perkins. All right, Solo. Perhaps we'll compare you to him. We'll give you that comp. Be honest. How many wins do you think Chicago will get this year? Do you think they're a play-in team this year? Top 6? Still trying to figure it out.
Top 6 feels like a reach, but
it does feel like a reach. I wouldn't even say like top 8 playoffs. Like play-in as like a 9-10, being back in the.
I don't know.
What they called it? The what did they call that team? Those teams of Eastern Conference teams that kept making the play-in year after year. It was the mid something.
I don't know, but it was because it was what Chicago, Miami, and
Atlanta. Yeah. I think it was just them 3, and they just called them the mid 3.
No,
they're definitely in a just to answer his question, I think they're in a figure it out stage. Like I don't think Wilson is going to go ahead and completely dominate the scene from year one, but who knows? Like he's got some really nice energy and athleticism to his game, and that's really effective. You certainly have to think that it's just going to be just a take it slow with these guys. They bring in a young guy that only coached 1 year of NBA basketball, and now he's expected to develop these guys over the next couple of years now for the long term. Like I think we should, I'm excited about them. I think I'll hold out for another year.
Yeah, just going through the East standings from last year: Detroit, Boston, New York, Cleveland, Toronto, Atlanta, Philly, Orlando, Charlotte, Miami. And then Indiana's going to get Halliburton back. Washington.
Jaden Bradley.
Okay.
He ends up going to Toronto. That's a shame. I was kind of hoping that he would be undrafted, just for Phoenix' sake.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But I mean, we're both the Arizona folks. I mean, I'd like for you to take over this Jaden Bradley one.
Oh well, he was the guy with the ball instead of Burries, so I like the way he controlled the offense. He had a rough end of the tournament there against Michigan. I guess everyone did though. No, really good player. I love the way he ran the offense last year for U of A, which is what he did.
Mhm,
So I'd pick 50 for Toronto, where it doesn't feel like they have a
mhm.
true point guard because they start what quickly at the one
Yes, they
technically.
do start
Yeah,
quickly. And then I'm a big fan of Jamal Shed, their backup guard. He was their damn near their starter for that second half of the year, it felt like, just because Quickly was hurt so often. But I like myself that. Like everything that I saw from, his quick hitting tape, I thought that he got to the line quite a lot. Very effective free throw shooter at that as well. At 81%, he got to the free throw line 9 times per 100 possessions. Very effective in the mid range too. Shot 45% on those shots, and he was a higher volume mid range scorer at about like 8 attempts per 100. Um, but he has low volume 3-point shooting, and I think that's kind of redundant in a way to like Jamal Shed, who's really never been much of a 3-point shooter. Um, and he's also athletically limited in his own right as a guy who had to rely a ton on ball screens. And like, why wouldn't you when you had Three-Peat there setting those screens in the first place? But I felt like he over relied on those during his time at U of A and didn't really create the space necessary to um, to really get off his own shots per se. So you're probably going to cut out a lot of his middies over at the NBA level, and just where exactly he's going to fit in. It's probably going to be as the lead initiator of an offense, be a lead playmaker. Um, Otherwise, like you should probably look at attempting more threes, maybe getting to the rim a little bit more. Like that's probably going to be your best bets as far as Bradley going ahead and overtaking Shed. And both of them are kind of similar to me, but Shed's a little more of the defensive playmaker that I think they prefer.
Shed bigger
I don't mind this fit at
too.
all. I think they're the same size. All right, so this is the Magic. Isaiah Nelson. So that is my. Let me go ahead and look at Nelson really quickly here. So South Florida, real small school guy here. See if there's any stats for him
Oh
here.
no, I was thinking of Central Florida. I was like, is South Florida a small school?
like, like South Florida, that feels very small.
It's a mid big, right? Because they're in
Right.
Tampa. They're kind of the biggest. I think they're the biggest university in Tampa. So
Are they
yeah.
really? That's funny. But very much undersized center. He's 6'9", plays at about 219 pounds. So you can imagine like a lower center of gravity for him, and being uh, bullied in the chest per se. Like I think that's going to be a weakness very early on. He doesn't really have much of like a true big skill, whether that's like offensively speaking. There really isn't much creation to his game. There really isn't much um, shooting to his game. There isn't much feel to his game. He's very much just a play finisher at the rim, almost like like I would think of like an Isaiah Stewart as a high end comp, but maybe you think of like the Sixers backup, a Dembona, as a player that really doesn't have all the size in the world, but has the ability to deflect passes quite a bit and just really finish at the rim when he's given those opportunities. Um, and Andrew just left me. I think his camera died in that moment, but I'll just take him out for the time being. well, he'll end up being back here in a sec here. I'm pretty sure of that. Um, but that's kind of the gist of him with Nelson, just very much a play finisher and really nothing more than that. And when you kind of look at Orlando, now we can talk about Orlando's big man. Like, it's certainly not the guy that I would take at this moment. Like, I still like Visar. Like, he still is available. I'm very surprised by it. I'm very, very surprised by it. But do you kind of take a look at the his ability there as a play finisher, and I think that makes sense. That they have the stretch five model as far as having Wendell Carter Jr. there, having Mo Wagner there as well, and they have Badadze as well. But again, like we talked about, Badadze being a guy that's potentially on the chopping block. So not bad to have a development setter there either. Solo, hope come on gets more playing time this year. He seems like a sleeper, still with so much potential. I'm in agreement with that. I do think that he'll play more as the season goes on. I do see like the goal right now is for him to take over the starting center position in the second half of the season next year. I do think that they're going to try to bring back Mark Williams and essentially run this whole thing back and really bank on internal developments. And they're really high on Maluwach. Really, they really like his potential as a rim protector. Of course, like we've been able to see it. He was very masterful as a defensive player, particularly in a Pelicans game last year where he had 4 different blocks on Zion and they were all in completely different situations. Like he has the rim protection upside there as well as like shooting upside. They've tried to go ahead and have what's his face's name? They try to have Maluwach be a little bit more of like that stretch big. And he's been able to do so in spurts. Like he has the form and technicality to do so. It won't be a huge leap in year 2, in my opinion, but he's already shown a good amount as far as his defense goes. And I'm sure that that's going to be a big emphasis for this team moving forward, is just trying to figure out how to get him the minutes that's necessary, because he's the 10th overall pick after all. Welcome back, Andrew.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm assuming the camera died.
Yeah, I tried to flip it real quick.
Yeah. There he is.
Great pickup.
It's a great pickup. Man, Clippers, I'm liking what they're doing in this draft from like a in totality standpoint. Let's get to him. Like I can finally pull up some stats on him because this site really hasn't done me all that well in the previous couple of guys. But biggest thing to me, floor spacer. 43% from 3, very fluid form. Attempted a good amount of shots at the basket, shot 75% at the rim. Just really effective in that regard. When you think about, sorry, let me scroll up here and get what I wrote up on him. Just very good potential as far as like pick and pop opportunities. You talk about connective passing and good feel for the game. Like I felt that he processed the floor pretty solidly and pretty quickly. And that's with, remind me, he's from North Carolina. Yes, he went to school in North Carolina, where you don't really have much floor spacing when you have Caleb Wilson out there. And he was a very good piece there to help alleviate some of that pressure as a floor spacing big and somebody that can pass the ball really well. A 14% assist rate is pretty solid for a guy of his size. But what's really not impressive to me, like it's defensively speaking, it's not necessarily in the athleticism. Like you don't really want him to be out on the perimeter, no, but he's not one that gets a whole lot of blocks, and it's due to like a thin frame. And he's, I talk about players getting bullied in a low center of gravity. Like, he is very much not that type of center to be all that great from a defensive perspective, aside from maybe getting deflections.
Do you see him as a center
like
at the next level?
I would view him as a center, 6'11",
Yeah, I was just wondering with some of the defensive stuff because it does seem like he does have some trouble.
Yeah, and if I saw that correctly, like okay, I'm glad that I switched over players for a second. I was going to say zero point 0.3 blocks per game. No, I see the 1.2. I've been switching between tabs. That's why. Um, but I think he's a very effective offensive player, man. Like I think that he's solid finishing at the rim. He has the floor space and potential there, which is really nothing that this Clippers team has had in a. Never mind, they had Brook Lopez this past year, but like that's a 1 year thing, and they're transitioning to a more youthful squad. I will say, like, the defense is going to be very concerning, and that's why he fell. The thin frame is why he fell. But I think having that floor spacing ability is important. It really is. I'll put my phone on the charger. You're still in my ear.
Yeah, I definitely like the spacing, especially it gives him kind of what Brook Lopez did, but he's slightly younger. And obviously with no Zubac now.
Well, he's actually going to Atlanta. I just
Oh,
saw
so
the Hawks traded up from
nice.
57, which again, like floor spacing, like you need that with Jalen Johnson. Like that's still a really good fit.
Here's our Virginia guy, and he's going to the Knicks.
You want to try to say his name?
Ugana Onyenso.
It's a tough one. It's very much a
Just
tough
block the
one. But
shots, and
7 foot.
I'll call you whatever you want me to call you.
Yeah, 7 foot, 240. Very much just an easy rim protecting player. Like he's very much one of the best ones in this class. Just from a length perspective, you talk about it from an athletic perspective. You know, he because of how good of a rim protector he is and his ability to move around, like he can excel really nicely on um when he plays high and he hedges on pick and rolls. He can play pretty solidly just playing in drop coverage, and I think drop coverage is where he's going to really be at his best from a rim protection standpoint. um Offensive rebounding is also a really good thing. That's event creation, that's being a hustle guy. That goes to show his effort to me. Just offensively speaking, there he's only a play finisher. He's only going to finish at the rim, and that's it. And even then, like there's not a whole lot of uh, like vertical pop. You're not going to see him just slam it every chance that he gets. Um, he's going to be very limited in that regard. It's maybe this is a little bit of an inaccurate framing, but I immediately think of like a Bismack Biyombo, right? Like Bismack didn't really have like the softest hands in the world, but he was so center wise, you could put him in any scheme. He can move around a little bit, and he's just able to protect the rim at just such a damn good level to where you kind of have to play him maybe a 10, 15 minutes per game. Play him in spot minutes. Like that's probably his best role here with the Knicks. Kind of, high end comp is like a Mitchell Robinson. If you were ever to reach that potential, but like I think we could be modest and say like a Biyombo spot minutes guy being able to protect the rim really solidly. That plays a benefit to New York. It
Yeah,
really does.
yeah, definitely if they're gonna lose Mitchell.
Oh, jeez, is that ooh, I'm just seeing the the dent in my head, in the middle of my forehead with all the hat.
All right, Golden State. I'm gonna have to look at the whole draft board after this and find out. Just remember who got traded where.
Oh, it'll suck. And I think that's a good idea. Just stay on for a little bit longer just to talk about draft in totality.
Yeah, then we can see where all the teams ended up with their
hmm
guys.
Let me see if I could do like Can I do this live? Best available players.
Boswell still there?
Yeah, Kylan Boswell. I remember Mark Mitchell all those years ago. I remember he was a really highly touted guy, and he just really hasn't developed in the way that I was hoping. Michael Ajayi, I remember his name in there. Is it Milos or Milos Uzan from Houston?
Milosh.
Like, y'all are aware of like Milo's tea and whatnot for the longest time because I only knew of Milos Teodosic, the Clippers point guard. That's all that I. That's the only way that I pronounced it. It was Milos, and people would say Milos. I'm like, no, it's not Milos.
Did Milosh play with Chris Paul on the Clippers team?
No, he did not.
Okay.
He did not. He was. CP got traded to Houston, and that was essentially when he joined.
We got his replacement. We got the Chris Paul replacement.
LeJ. That's a fun name. LeJ Jones to Golden State. Let me pull him up for y'all real quickly. LeJ Jones. Sorry, I had to do this on a whim. Like, this is a kind of an unknown to me. He's a senior from Florida State. Let's just look at it from just a raw stats perspective, because from what I have seen, like, it doesn't seem like there's too much analysis on him. But if you're just gonna look at him here, about less than 30 minutes a night, 5 threes a game, 33% from three, 54% on twos, 13 points a night, 6 boards. Like, those are just the raw counting stats and whatnot. Everything about him seems to be way more of like a wing defensive type of player. Like, him being, let me find him really quickly just to kind of get it going. Like, pick and roll defense has always been something that he's been really solid at. You know, he has a lot of defensive versatility, not really too much screen navigation. Like, he has the athletic limitations, and, you know, he will get pinned pretty easily. But his shooting off of the catch is going to be his best trait. And I think for a Golden State team that's going to continue to emphasize that, that's all that he needs to do. There's so many offensive options here. It's super important to just provide as much space as possible for not just Steph, but like hilariously like Butler and Green to go ahead and, you know, continue to put pressure on the rim and get to the paint. Like, that's a really important aspect that I think will need to be taken advantage of. And I just think that, like, this is just a raw development guy after all. So late in the second round, kind of just want to take a swing on some type of skill. And if it's going to be off-ball shooting, that's a fine thing to have.
Yeah, and he's an older guy too. So on the kind of timeline you're playing on, as far as development goes, he kind of is what he is.
And it sort of fits the bill with kind of what they drafted earlier with Yaxel Lendeborg, who's going to be 24 years old pretty soon here, if I'm remembering that correctly.
So it looks like they're still just playing on the Curry timeline. Like, it's supposed to plan.
And I think that's, and I found that surprising, given, you know, how much was, you know, commented about the, you know, Steve Kerr potentially coaching his last couple of years, or, you know, this could have been his potential last year, and really kind of looking towards something else. I'm curious if there's more just on the horizon. You know, there's been a lot of rumors about them trying to net themselves a star somewhere, and that they feel confident in doing so. Like, where does that happen? Is it a LeBron signing, surprise signing? Is it a Kawhi trade?
Anthony Davis?
Is it an Anthony Davis trade? Yeah.
Would Draymond be in an Anthony Davis trade?
You would think, right?
Yeah, I
Instead
traded him
of
before Butler.
interesting.
As weird as that sounds, I mean,
Okay, so this is gonna go to the Clippers. This upcoming pick here.
okay.
Nick Martinelli. So Martinelli was a high usage player. So he stood at 6'7", 6'10" wingspan. Again, you're going to talk about athletic and defensive limitations on him. Like, I just want to get that out of the way because um, he's a little bit just slower footed, a little bit heavier footed, and you're able to see that when he is getting to his shot creation bag. And that was what he was best known for during his time um, over at Northwestern. 13 mid-range attempts per 100 possessions was ranked in the 97th percentile. I'll share the screen here with everybody. Okay, there we go. But he shot 47% on those mid-range jumpers. That's a really effective shooting there. You also talk about just, it's lower volume from three, but 42% there as well. Like always operated with really good footwork, offensively speaking. Just everything is going to come from his defense and his ability to move his feet there. Um, and really, just from a playmaking perspective, there isn't a whole lot there that's versatile per se. Not somebody that's going to go ahead and wow you there. Just a fine development piece that has the scoring upside. Um, I wouldn't say like Bogdan Bogdanovic is a perfect comparison, but I'm just thinking within the team concepts and them trying to move off of some guys, like that's probably your best bet in regards to who actually ends up um, leaving the squad and what needs to be replaced within your rotation, and that's probably your best bet as far as skill sets go. So again, like not a bad bet on upside, I guess you could say. Like shooting and scoring upside is a very fun thing to try to develop.
Yeah, definitely a very elite mid-range guy. The what's his face just got traded to the Pistons. I don't know if you saw that. The
Who got traded to
Virginia
the
guy. I'm
Pistons?
not gonna try his name again. That the Knicks
Oh,
just took
Onyenso. Onyenso
Yenso.
just rolls off the tongue.
Onyenso.
Oh, the Lakers, yeah, they did buy themselves a second round pick before night two started. Oh, lie, like I really liked their selection yesterday, man. It always feels like the Lakers end up with a guy that I'm a little bit higher on my own draft board. Like I remember all those years ago, there was a player named Maxwell Lewis who was like a top 20 guy on my board, and he ends up falling into the second round. I'm like, whoa, this is really nice. And then he ends up, really not doing anything. I think he tore his Achilles like last year and never really got back into the league ever since. Like I really liked connects for them. I think a lot of folks did. But I just feel like they continue to do this every year where they get a player that I really like and I think really fits them. Adu Thura was another one. I liked that second rounder from last year.
So who would you take here if you were them?
If I was the Lakers,
I guess we'll find
good
out if you
question.
like this one.
Probably like a Nate Biddle. Whoa. That is a name.
You want to try that one?
Vsevolod Ishenko. That is a hell of a name. Good lord. I won't lie. Like, I kind of just want to skip over
I must
him.
have bullied you. They don't have any footage. They don't have any footage of him. You can tell they don't got nothing on him.
Yeah.
That guy's still in Russia.
But so we'll
hanging out at the Kremlin.
So we'll learn about him together then. 6'8", point forward, 7-foot wingspan. They cite shooting potential, small sample size of threes, but shot 46% on those. Aggressive when he gets to the rim, but not a whole lot of half-court creation, but mainly played off of the ball. But everything about him feels like it's a complete unknown because there's really no tape there. Like that really is just the case with Ishenkov. Like he's only played on VTB over in Russia, and he had no appearances at either the youth or the senior level over in playing EuroLeague, playing in overseas.
Some of this,
And he's only played it in like one season, and it was just like really.
so is it like the international teams? Like, do the other like European pro teams, do they not play the Russian teams at all because of the
I
stuff
don't
going on over there? The war.
the war. I think hoop still goes on.
Like they're definitely playing the Russian league. I'm just like, is that where there's no footage? Because
I mean,
there's.
well, I also think just some of it is a matter of like him not playing at any of the other levels that would be more televised, I guess you would say. Like not playing at a youth or senior level before going over to this team. It's very like not traditional. Well, they compare him to a overseas guy to Vit Krejci, and I liked Vit Krejci quite a bit. He was a guy that has since developed into like a pretty solid like point forward type of player with Atlanta. Now he's over in Portland. He's solid, man. I like Vit Krejci, but Ishenkov is going to be a complete unknown for a little while. I wouldn't be surprised if this is like a draft and stash situation, and he continues to get some burn overseas before coming on over to the Lakers.
Luka knows about him through his Eastern European connections.
But Luka actually sent him to Dallas, so he's going to go to Dallas.
For what, cash, probably?
Yeah.
Shocker.
I like how the way Shams words it. Lakers and Mavericks have made a trade. LA sends 56 to Dallas. Like it makes me feel like they're gonna go Luka for Kyrie. Like you can't just lead off with that. But we're in the stretch run here of this draft. The last four picks left.
How long are we going? 2.5? Definitely shorter than yesterday.
We're probably yeah, easily. Like they fly through this, and I think folks understand. Like this is like the nitty gritty of the draft.
Really, drafting guys that ESPN doesn't have film on. So,
oh, dude, I think it was 2 years ago. There was a guy named Talon Peter that got drafted in the second round. No footage, and everything about his game was released maybe 3 days after. For me to scout, it got released 3 days after the conclusion of day 2. I was like, guys, we needed this.
It would be funny, like try to create a fake prospect and get him drafted.
Just full on my career it.
Show up for the first practice, yeah. It's like, so you're 6 foot, 160 pounds. You get abused off the ball.
That's dumb. But yeah, I think Talon Peter is still at the Pacers, if I'm remembering that correctly.
Good. Tell him to hit the shots when Braden Smith feeds him perfectly.
Like, I might be thinking too far ahead. I'm just thinking about, like, Summer League Suns. Bring over Kylan Boswell, man.
Why not?
Have him initiate the offense for everybody.
He'll be throwing
How's
down
that?
shots on and off the court. So
All right.
okay, you don't know the U of A lore, I guess.
Not off.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Probably shouldn't be doing that. He'll be good. He cleaned it up at Illinois, so that's a bit unfair to him.
Good.
Yeah.
But like we'll talk about all of these other teams, man. They just got to get to these last four. Wendy is going on a monologue. You really gonna do the fingers?
Why might that be?
Not the hand on the chin.
I forget what that was even in reference to. What trade he was talking about.
It was Royce O'Neal getting traded to the Nets, saying why would the Jazz do that, and really hinting at like Gobert Mitchell getting dealt. And I think he got traded like 24 hours after that.
That's gonna be a fun team to look back on in like a decade. The Mitchell Gobert Jazz era.
And now the Jazz just have this squad. It's like wow.
Fun
Clippers
squad.
get
Another guy
wow.
doesn't have a photo.
Narcisse Ngoy is another hell of a name.
It said Auburn. What?
He said France.
Yeah, France. But why did it say Auburn on the on the strike? What are we doing? We don't have footage from a guy from France. I get Russia.
Auburn did sign him. You're not wrong on that.
Okay.
But I guess he just elected to get to the draft. But as far as everything about him goes, 7'1", 7'7" wingspan. Everything about him just says like again, like I really have to find this guy. Like he wasn't even on the any of the boards, but everything that I read on him, um, like he's mainly a drop defender, so he's very defensively schematically limited. So, and that stems from heavier feet, as far as everything that I read. But it seems like you don't really want to attack him at the rim. Otherwise, like he's going to be a player who, again, is just another one of these play finishers. You probably think of him as more of like what would be a good comp for him? Like you still think of like a Mitchell Robinson, but I think I could come up with something a little bit better than that if I'm just really looking at it. But that more so fits the mold of like a Clippers center, somebody that's a little bit more at the basket per se, and able to alter shots at the rim.
I'd like to see Boswell get taken here in the last 3 picks. Him and is a Wilkerson guy out of Indiana been taken yet? I don't think so.
No, he has not.
See him go somewhere here too.
Like a decent option here would be like a Yohan Berenjay, the rookie from last year for the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think that could be like a decent comparison for him. Just
While we're
sure
waiting
that,
here, did you see the clip of the 7'4" guy in India?
Yes, I have.
I don't know. Could be nothing. It's like the who's the guy that's like 9 feet tall in Florida?
I don't think
You
he's
see that guy?
9, but I know a guy like he's 7'8", and he doesn't
God.
play.
No, because he's not mobile at all. That's the Wemby thing, is Wemby can actually move.
Yeah, and this dude is younger than us. 7'9" from Canada.
Dude, 7'9's not. Jerome Pierre.
Jaron Pierre Jr.
Pierre, you want to come out here?
Jaron Pierre. SMU guy. Somebody that I didn't totally get wowed by. Even, like, I like shot makers. Like, do not get me wrong. Like, he shot 37% from deep, and a lot of that was off of difficult off the dribble jumpers. As much as I like that, as much as I think that's a valuable thing to have, I don't think there was that much as far as off ball ability goes. I think his frame is a little bit. It's fine. Like, it's fine for a guard. 6'5", 210. But getting to the rim, can't really do so. That stems from a lack of athleticism. You talk about his inability to get to the rim and create for others as well. He's just very much a scorer and doesn't really have the defensive consistency that others do. Like, easy comparison to me is like a Lonnie Walker. He has a good size portfolio. You talk about some very good scoring, but you look at a guy that's taking a lot of difficult jumpers, and that's not necessarily a feasible skill set to allow for you to be like a top end option at this moment in time. Until he gets some more refinement in his game, he's going to have to, that's what he's going to have to learn how to do. He's got to learn to be a little bit more off ball and be a little bit more willing to pass instead of just having all of this tunnel vision. I believe he just got drafted by New Orleans, if I'm looking at that correctly. And there, I imagine like some guard space opening up for them too, with Bryce McGowan's probably not being like a high end option over there. You talk about what's his face's name, Jordan Hawkins, really not panning out as well as any of us were hoping. The guard from UConn. It's fine to take some development swings and maybe put a guy on a 2-way contract, and he's got shot making ability. Like, that's gonna be his calling card. If you're able to hone in on some of his decision making, there's a future piece here.
All right, so how about this? That pick, the Pelicans from Detroit via New York, via Brooklyn, via Phoenix, via Orlando, and there's more teams.
Is there more space?
There's a chance that was the Pelicans pick originally. Went through like 15 teams. That is nuts.
That is a lot of teams. Good Lord. Okay. Last two picks, they were really taking their time with these last two. That's really funny. I think they're really trying to reach that 7:30 mark. They're really trying to drag it.
Oh, they're milking it.
Because I think that's when either a game or summer league coverage comes up right after. 59th pick. This better stay with Minnesota.
They're still polishing Scott Van Pelt's head for SportsCenter.
Trey Kaufman.
Ren, this guy.
I
hated this dude.
And like, you can't just say that and not elaborate.
No, I was U of A hadn't made the Final Four run, so I was kind of rooting for U of A. This guy, just no offensive game. But no, don't get me wrong, he's a tough dude and plays with a super high motor. So I was just talking more personal rooting interest. Like, the same way we hate Luka, but hell of a player.
Right. Kaufman Wren. I won't lie.
I'm not saying he's Luka. But
Right. Right. Like you think of somebody that's not all that great of a shooter, I agree with you on that. Like he's a guy who's uh he's not a high volume guy, and he's also a very uh just not good from there. 28% from three, just not all that effective. And you talk about like just size in general. 6'9" with a 6'10" wingspan is really not going to cut it in a league that's really emphasizing not just shooting but just positional size in particular. It's nice that he's a good rebounder. It's nice that he's able to do some things on offense that isn't screening, and I think that's going to be a decent thing for Minnesota to have. Just being able to cut, being able to set screens, being able to pass a little bit. Um, I won't lie, like I don't really have too great of a comparison for him at this moment in time. But I will say, like him finishing in the paint, that's probably where you're going to get your best scoring opportunities from him. He shot 64% in right at the rim. So like not bad skills to have as a wing that's undersized, but he's an undersized wing and an athletically limited wing.
I was like, Bill's best available, Jaden Henley, guard from Grand Canyon.
From Grand Canyon.
Yeah.
I mean, what I see, I mean, it's on ESPN. Best available is the Arizona forward,
Oh, Waka.
Waka. Yeah. But I'm surprised. Like I thought, I mean, there's a couple of guys that I thought would have been selected already.
Yeah,
Aaron
Boswell and Wilkerson were mine.
I liked Aaron Nkrumah, and I think I had notes on Nate Biddle here as well.
Which makes Sir Wilkerson didn't get drafted, and I was ignoring it.
Oh, geez, we're already getting the two-way deals going crazy.
Any of those guys we mentioned signed two-way deals? Yeah.
No. Trey Donaldson, two-way with the Heat. A.K. Okereke, two-way to the Lakers.
This is going to Milwaukee. Try to get the Giannis replacement here.
Yeah. Maybe the IT reincarnated.
Oh yeah, IT. Shout out IT, man. He's an MVP candidate, 5'9".
It's
that hip injury actually sucks.
Yeah. In the 5 months that he was here, I was able to meet him at a Cold Beers and Cheeseburgers, and I got his autograph.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, he was a nice dude, man. He was very conversational, and he kind of shouldn't have been that conversational.
I'm sorry. I just wanted a Frosty.
That's a good pull. Good pull. But last pick of the draft, boys and girls. Hopefully you're still able to hear me good.
Yeah, I got you.
Cool. One AirPod died, the other one's going to die soon. They got to do their thank yous. They got to do their end credits right at the last pick.
Oh, dude, are there people there in the draft room who didn't get drafted? That's tough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they give the shout out to Summer League. We'll be there. Milwaukee Bucks.
Who are you getting?
Malik Lewis.
Trinidad and Tobago.
Now,
Tobago.
There we go. Malik Lewis. I actually had a couple of notes on him. So, first off, he is like really physical, man. He's super strong, and the effort very much is there. 6% offensive rebounding rate, 18% defensive rebounding rate, which is good when you're talking about the competition over at Trinidad and Tobago. Really good shooter as well, really off of the ball. 42% on his catch and shoot opportunities. Um, and it's translated really well as far as spot ups go. He ranked in the 91st percentile. Very solid finisher at the rim too. 63% of his shots he made at the rim. You talk about athleticism; it's really not all that there. That's why he kind of goes towards the strength route, the bully ball route, I guess you could say. Not all that great of a handle, and he was very much like a high usage wing over at Trinidad, and you kind of wonder how you can scale that at an NBA level where he's not going to have the ball in his hands like that here. How does he condense that role? A lot of that role will probably be condensed into what he's able to do best as far as getting to the rim, maybe some off-ball opportunities as far as working off of cuts. And then the spot-up shooting is just such a valuable trait for him to have. You do expect a level of improvement as far as like his handle goes. Like there won't be much creation there, so you're looking at like strictly an off-ball player at the next level if he allows for that to happen. I like that's a fun thing to talk about as far as like a bigger wing at 6'8", 224 pounds. Like he's clearly a strong guy, and I think that's you talk about it in a Milwaukee context. Granted, it just feels like there's going to be a lot of emphasis on development and being able to bring over players that you could just take swings on. That's just been the emphasis of this draft class by Milwaukee, and I am totally fine with Malik Lewis here. And like, he was a very solid prospect from what I was able to watch, and I think condensing it to an off-ball role would fit him very well.
All right. So that's it. Everyone's had their picks. Try to find a comprehensive list of who took who.
All right, my other AirPod died without letting me know, so we are. I hope you were saying things. I hope you weren't saying things. But that's the conclusion of the draft. We'll probably stick around for what, maybe like 10, 15-ish minutes, 10, 15, 20 minutes before we all hop on out of here. I'm going to try to find the draft results at like a clearer level and be able to just share it on the screen. Oh, not wiki. Gosh, I wish all of this was like color coded in a way or something of that nature. Just I need.
Dude, see, like here's the thing on NBA.com. Like I clicked the Suns and it's like the draft. Our pick, we technically took Tyler Nickel, but
it's not ours. It's what that was the 47th pick.
Yeah. Going to New York.
All right, I don't think I'll find it in a much a very clear way. Yeah, I won't find it in a clear way. I will say, like, I do have. I could pull up the Bleacher Report one, and we can kind of just go through it. Like, I think that's probably our best route.
Yeah, it's probably the easiest option.
Yeah, they don't have like the messed up teams and messed up spots or anything. So I'll share my screen here. It is. I will say, like, you do have to separate it by rounds 1 and 2. And then we can definitely just separate it by teams. So if we're just strictly looking at just total draft classes, just like off of the dome, like some classes that come to mind where you're just like, that's it. That's a really good draft class.
Well, teams we mentioned obviously Chicago, OKC. I really like Indiana starting Braden Smith. Memes aside, like I actually do really like that pick.
Hmm.
Um, and then the Clippers, I think, are an underrated sleeper for best draft.
I would be in agreement with that. I like the Martinelli selection. Them bringing over Baba Miller was also a really good one. Um, and then, we're fans of the Wagler selection. I wouldn't say that it's an unpopular opinion to like him, but there's certainly a louder contingent of fans that don't really like Wagler. So just very like I'm in agreement with you. Like I do like the Clippers class as well. Just want to shout it out real quick, Davis. Seriously, like you tuned in for all 2 days, and from the bottom of my heart, I just want to say that I appreciate you for just hopping on the stream and just trusting us with your draft content, my man. Seriously, thank you so much to you and everybody that ends up actually joining the stream and trusting us with your draft coverage. Um, I'm curious, just like the Bucks, this Bucks draft class. Like we like the Burry selection. Ament was expected to go there, or just um, be a lottery selection. Like that's the easiest way to put it. But you sort of take a look at uh, just sort of the ceiling that you have with him, and just kind of the history that comes with this GM and this development staff. Do you trust uh, this organization, this coaching staff, to go ahead and get the most out of Almonds? Because that feels like the big time swing that they're taking with the draft picks that they ended up getting.
I do. Jenkins is the coach now, right?
Yes, Taylor Jenkins.
Yeah. So I like what Jenkins did in Memphis. I think he's definitely a lot better than a guy like Doc to have around a young team
Sure.
that we're rebuilding. So I think whatever Nate's going to turn into, I think he's in a good spot to reach his max potential.
Hmm. Like that to me is like the big swing of the lottery. Like Merez Johnson, as much as we can consider it a reach, like I don't think that's a big swing. Like I think you're gonna know what you're getting out of him, and I think everybody else you really know. I'm not sure what the outcome ends up becoming with Amens. Like I'm not confident in either or
Well,
happening.
the thing with Ahmed and Perez Johnson is like the Mavs have their guy, like
Mhm.
the number one, like could no no matter what Johnson's peak is, he's not going to be Cooper Flag. But if Nate reaches his max thing, he could be the cornerstone piece of that franchise moving forward.
Uh, I kind of I kind of like this Hornets draft, man. Like I think
And
it's
too,
fun that the two of them are actually from Germany, Christian Andersen and Hannes Steinbeck, and they go ahead and they become teammates again over in Charlotte. Again, I'm curious the direction of just free agency, what they end up doing with Kobe White and whatnot. But I really like those selections. Like you get yourself a pretty safe, low ceiling, pretty high floor center with Steinbach. And then Anderson, I feel like you're just getting a really effective guard. Just so um just so safe when it comes to the playmaking, the on ball, off ball shooting, that I think just plays into the favor of the Hornets, considering how much they have valued over the last 2 years. The on ball, off ball shooting and scoring ability. You know, I felt that it was made pretty evidently clear when they tried to trade for Dalton Connect in the failed Mark Williams trade, just how much of an emphasis that was going to be for this team and this the personnel here, and it has worked out really well. And with these two in particular, they fit in well. They fit in really well with Charles Lee and company.
yeah, no, that's a great point. Yeah, I love Steinbach with what they're trying to do. in Charlotte. Definitely, probably going for the back-to-back years of League Pass Team of the Year.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would
most
agree with
fun
that.
team to watch. Yeah.
I would agree with that. I think, like, I'm assuming, like, we both really like the Phylon selection.
Oh
Was there
yeah.
any other like steals that come to mind for you, where it's like, oh, this guy fell quite a bit, but this is a good selection by them.
Uh, do one from the day. How about uh Henry Visar,
Hmm.
North Carolina center.
Yes, Visar. I
Visar.
uh,
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention that I also just am a big fan of Atlanta's draft. I
Oh
thought that
yeah,
they
Subi.
nailed this class. Good value with Flemings, very good upside swing and Edgefer, and then another stretch big to complement the lack of spacing that you're getting vertically or spacing wise out of Edgefer. I feel
Yeah,
like
they
they're really nailing this, man. They
yeah they
really have
definitely
really
slammed
well.
this one home. New Orleans threw the lob, but they
Hmm.
slammed it home.
I mean, as they should, right?
God, Dare Queen, so much pressure. The
Yeah, especially like I think of Flemings as a better prospect over Fears, Jeremiah Fears.
I'd agree. Yeah. Although Fears played pretty decent last year.
Yeah, yeah. Just coming out of the draft is what I'm getting at.
Oh, I got you.
I think Flemings was the better prospect more than Fears was. But any teams that kind of stand out to you as underwhelming losers per se? I won't say losers. We'll just say underwhelming or just some reaches that you were surprised by.
Uh, I don't know. I'm just maybe the Nets, not like losers, but I'm just confused like where they're going a little bit. Like
Hmm.
not sure what the plan is, especially in combination with the Randall trade.
Yeah, yeah. Like I'm totally okay with them acquiring Randall. Like I am. Again, like I talked about, like the value, and I am just going to be lower on Mikael Brown, and he'll probably be a good player. He'll probably be a good player with Brooklyn. I just feel that taking an upside swing, you're going to go ahead and like I think Acuff was a pretty obvious selection, and that ended up with Atlanta just really getting the steal here with Flemings.
I did like Brown better than Fleming's, if I'm honest.
Interesting. I like that we're opposites in this moment. Then,
Just on upside.
yeah, yeah. I think that there's a lower floor that you can reach with Mikael Brown, especially if just the inefficiencies kind of stay put.
But yeah, don't get me wrong. There's some stuff on there that sticks out on
Hmm.
his tape where you're like, yikes.
Yeah.
He threw a lob to a guy in a game. Can't remember which one, but it looked like he was throwing a lob to Wimby. The guy he's throwing it to is like 6'10", and then Brown looks at him. He's like, "How come you didn't? What are we doing?" It's like that's why are you throwing that?
Yeah. But like I'm in agreement with that, with the Nets in particular, like selecting Joshua Jefferson, like it's fine. Like it's a good pick. Like I thought that his skill set would have worked better for like a Suns per se or a Celtics, even like a Spurs, but I'm okay with them selecting Taurus Reed too. So like I think of the Nets as underwhelming, like you said. I do think that a Corey was just a slight reach. I just again I think of value on the board, value according to my board, and ultimately, Christian Anderson was still there. Phylon was still there. Phylon being my big steal of the draft. Even a Cam Carr. I really liked Cam Carr throughout this whole process as an off ball guard. I'm just like, huh. If you wanted to like another scoring type, like I would have preferred any of the other three over Abuka Corey.
Yeah. Yeah, Cam Carr next to Luca should be pretty good.
Yeah, that should be an excellent fit, especially if they don't bring back Kennard, which at this point I expect them to not bring back Kennard.
Oh, I love the Brazil pick next to Jokic.
Yeah, that's a lot of like I can't really say like you're reaching if you're 30 picks 30 and above. Like
Oh,
like you could say that I'm surprised that it was LeJay Jones going over here, Ishenko getting that selection after just maybe a year or two's worth of good play. But otherwise, like I feel like this isn't all that egregious of a draft as far as where these guys ended up getting taken. You may have a couple of reaches here and there, whether that was, in my opinion, like an Okori or a Merez Johnson. Everything else feels very accurate to what I had written down. And
yeah,
I
there
think,
definitely wasn't any anything too nuts.
but I think we could talk about this. Like, I want to talk about the Suns real quick with you. Just the prospect of them, like they're probably going to run it back. That's what Gambo is saying right now. They're going to try to work out a deal with Mark Williams, and this will probably be the team. I don't know about you. Like, what do you think about the prospect of just running this whole thing back? Just add Koa Pete, continue moving forward.
There's a fate. Yeah, there's fate's worse than running it back with team that ended up being the 8 seed, I guess, last year. But running it back is fine with me, predicated on guys like Mallock and Fleming getting more minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Over say, like I would not be like we got to move off Grayson and Royce O'Neal to make that happen, or Ryan Dunn, and I'm fine with that.
Which of the two would you prefer moving of Royce and Grayson?
Probably Grayson.
Just higher value, you think?
Yeah, I feel like he'd fetch more.
Yeah. It's a tough conversation with me.
Plus, we have 4 guards too. If we did trade him,
Yes, I would make the argument that like him and Royce are the same height. They're both 6'4". And I don't think that either of them are all that crazy from a defensive perspective to where you need to emphasize one or the other on that end. It's really about offense at that moment. And I think Grayson took a humongous step forward as far as creation goes, as far as being able to play make and put pressure on the rim. Felt like he was really crafty all last year. I think that just having that benefit, especially when, we had Book out for stretches, Jalen Green out majority of the season, Dylan Brooks breaking his hand late in the year. Like that type of skill set is really important to me. And like I would keep Grayson personally, unless you're able to get back a solid return. Like
yeah.
like he's not untouchable. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. I don't think I think Grayson's a better player than Royce.
Mm-hmm.
He could do more. Yeah, mine's just I think he would get more on the open market.
Mm-hmm. But I won't lie, like the concept of trying to develop after the season that we had last year, like there's certainly like a downside for the Suns to have had the season that they did last year. They were expected to be real bad, and then you get like some sudden jumps in production and overall levels of play from all the way. You can start with Dylan Brooks and Mark Williams at the beginning of the year, but then you can transition that over to Grayson, to Colin Gillespie, to Jordan Goodwin, and they really overachieved. in a year where we were kind of expecting the young guys to take over and really try to develop as the season went along. And that didn't happen when they won more games. The moment they decided that they were going to try to win more games and, not really do anything to improve the team to make it a more bona fide top 6, top 5 seed last year, everything was kind of crumbling after. And you saw spot minutes from your young guys, and they flashed in quite a bit of moments, Fleming in particular. But I can't help but think that, especially with them not playing the young guys in a useless playoff setting, I guess you could say, playing against the Thunder in the first round, getting swept. And now they're banking on that development going into the year when there wasn't much shown at the beginning of their careers and their rookie years because they weren't given that time. So now they win these games, and there's kind of an expectation now, continuing to try to win, try to maximize the Booker window. And they're probably just going to be a worse team because of that, and that's kind of a scary proposition to do that, especially with how small this Booker timeline is becoming.
Yeah, there's not many years left here. But I mean, the thing is, running it back with the same team and relying on the same guys for minutes, it's still not a title team around Booker. So
yeah, I like some swings is all. I talk about the Morant thing mainly because of the capital you would be getting from that, given that you don't have too much of future capital. And if you're able to just hit on Ja, that's a good thing. You can also just talk about some other buy low guys like Randall, Zion. I think they would be some really good helps as far as buy low options go, revitalize the value. Maybe you ship them off later for more capital that will help this team moving forward.
I would be an angry man if George Randall ends up on my basketball team. But is the jaw flip as simple as just Jalen Green and just swap the two?
That's how I would do it. But I've seen some things that was in regards to Grayson Royce Bouye. And I think one more contract in there.
What happened to my contract thing here?
You're just looking up contracts right here.
Yeah, I was trying to use Spot Track.
That's
Give me an error. All right.
Yeah, I can't even pull up mine.
Website's down, I guess. Everyone's checking they're using it now. They're finding out trades. Yeah.
Yeah.
Could we flip Zion for?
Oh, that's a shame. It's a shame. Maybe we got to download the app.
Jalen Brown, Zion. Watch out for the Pelicans.
But that's your first time doing a bunch of on-camera work.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on just joining a stream like that? How are you feeling after all of this?
Pretty good. Yeah, today was definitely I don't know if more chill is the right word, but it's just it's you just don't know as much about the second round guys. And stuff will happen where a team will pull out drafting a guy from Russia who no one's ever seen or heard of. And are we sure he's real?
It's nice to have those live reactions still. Just
yeah.
I remember the first year when Jalen Duren got drafted and then traded, but there was 3 different tweets that was saying he got traded to this team, this team, this team, and we were like, which team did he actually end up on? Is he on the Knicks? Is he on the Thunder? Is he on the Pistons? And it was a fun thing at that moment. But yeah, draft coverage in general, it's tough. I tell you about hundreds of hours of film being put into all of this,
and you still don't get to everyone.
Yeah. Even the guys that I keep up with, they don't get to everyone either. But yeah, like this is all of this is about 109 hours of film and writing combined.
This is what, year 5 for
This
you,
is year
right?
5. Yep.
And next step, summer league.
Absolutely. Like we'll me and you we'll continue to chop it up, see what everything ends up looking like. Carson will actually be joining me in summer league this go around, and that's going to be an amazing time. Um, and when Andrew joins, it's going to be an amazing time.
Nah, yeah, looking forward to summer league. Looking forward to seeing all these guys getting the show out. What's gonna be our Kai Jones dunking on Wimby moment?
Or we're going to get our Jabari Smith buzzer beating game winner moment.
Do you remember the Angelo Ball? That was it. Yeah, the Wimby after the first summer league game. People were like, I don't know. You sure about this guy?
Oh shoot. Oh shoot. But we'll be back out there again. First summer league this year, year 2 of summer league. We're gonna try to make this a yearly thing, given all this work that I have done. let me say what's up to all the folks. I Orim 1000, so is how I'll put it. What up, man? And then Amber, what up to y'all? I appreciate y'all for tuning in to the stream. But we'll be heading out there for year 2. We're potentially going to be doing some. Oh shoot! Sorry, I just got a Hornets engaged in LaMelo Ball trade talks with multiple teams.
Aggressive teams. Shams.
Interesting.
Oh, it's not Ja though, right? Who would it be?
No.
Jaylen Brown. They wouldn't.
Nah.
Us? Hopefully, the Suns.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind buying. I mean, I wouldn't even call that buy low, but that would be nice.
Fun.
But we'll be here for year 2 of summer league. We're gonna bring the mic. We'll probably bring a second mic to go ahead and just try to do a live show in the hotel room.
We'll find about there. We'll try to get like all the sound stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I know that I got
bring a camera, set up the wide angle,
get the 2 chairs set up. Like
one of us will have a room with 2 beds. We'll do the 2 beds and the the cook chair.
But we'll be out there. We'll live stream. We'll probably do live shows after the first 2 days of summer league back at the hotel room. And
Tim
then
Legler. We'll get Legler on as a guest. Legler, come back to my hotel room.
Bobby Marks. But we'll do that for the first 2 days, and then after day 3, when I get back home, because I'll be leaving at close, like in the middle of day 3, and I'll go ahead and share what I had seen through just a separate video podcast once I get back home. But I believe that's everything that I had. I mean, this was year 5 of this, and I look forward to this time of year every single year. All of this work of writing and watching, it's my favorite thing to do. And everybody that tunes in or shares the shows with folks, I seriously appreciate y'all so much for tuning in, reading, watching, even through all of day 2, when we can be a little delirious. So seriously, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Thank you guys for watching.